What is up, everybody? It's your boy. It's the Don. It's the Godfather. It's the future Hall of Famer, JD Legend, with my man, the myth, the legend, my brother, Virgo. How you doing, man? How you doing, brother?
Happening, man. I'm doing great. It's your boy, Prototype Virgo. We are here once again for number 10. The Henny Cool Brother. It has been a very, very long time. I am excited. We have a plethora of questions and topics on deck. Let's get it.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. And with us, we have the brethren, the Dark Lord himself, Brother Drizzt.
Hello, guys. Insert generic intro here.
How you doing, Drizzt? How's life? What's new, man?
I'm getting chased by a red shell right now on Mario Kart.
Andy's here.
I didn't know y'all was gonna be in this. I thought you were gonna send me one of those Google Doc link. What the fuck is it called? Meets.
Nah,
Hangouts. I don't even know what it's called.
Nah, that's the Brago and Virgo thing. Nah, I'm a Discord man. I'm a Discord man through and through.
Okay, so am I. Way too lazy for all that.
That's what I'm saying.
Just hop into Discord. That's all I need you to do. All right,
I'm just not trying to have all that. That's the thing. Like, it's the problem is that Google somehow always messes with my Blue Yeti. No matter what I do, restarts all of it. So I'm just tired. I'm tired. Discord doesn't do this to me. It never betrays me, except for, when we're playing Mario Kart for some reason. So, but with us we have Brother Naya. Naya, welcome. I think is this your third Henny Cool Brothers too?
I think it's my second. I could be wrong though.
Okay, all right. Well, welcome back, my brother. How you doing? What's going on?
I'm right. I'm good. My back's still broken, but I'm good.
We're brothers.
Broken.
That's right.
We're brothers.
Yeah.
We're brothers.
Spinal.
You're brothers. We're brothers.
It's broken. It's gone.
Island Brassy 98 is now part of the family.
My question is, did you actually break your back?
No.
All right, so you're capping. All right, bet. A shout out to Island Brazy and Mr. Prince with the subscription. Yes, Mr. Morj will be here. He'll be here a little bit later, so no, it wasn't cap. I was not deceiving you guys just for, funny purposes. No, that's not.
It would be funny if you were lying, though.
It would be hilarious if I was lying. But no, I'm not lying. You know what's funny? I should have lied and said he's not coming. I did lie, and then he just shows up anyway. That would have been funnier. I should have did
Morj
that.
be here for an hour, then an hour after that we had Tekken showing up.
Tekken just flies out of nowhere. Oh my god! But
hey guys, crinking.
But before we actually get to the actual main topics that we're going to be discussing, we're going to be talking a lot of One Piece, a lot of Chapter 1000, a lot of Chapter 1001. But beforehand, I just want to ask. This is a very generic question, but we always got to start a podcast with generic questions. Now that we are at the rooftop, now that we are nearing or at the climax of the Battle of Onigashima, how are you guys feeling about Wano now?
Did you want to get that first? I'm having a good time. Ever since the Onigashima raid started, I've been having a good time. I definitely kind of tempered my expectations and lowered them a bit, so that could be playing a factor into it just to a certain degree. But for the most part, I've just been having a good time. The combat's been, decent. I do feel like he's definitely stalled to get Luffy to the rooftop, but he had to make that statement in Chapter 1000. I get it. I'm not mad at it. So, it's been good. It's been good. I think I need to step away for a while and just do my own thing. Then I don't know. I can't really explain it, but I kind of regained my love for One Piece, like during the last month or so.
Love to hear.
So.
That makes me happy.
It's been good.
That really makes me happy. And we see you uploading. This is the most motivated Naya I've seen ever since I met you, bro. So I'm really, really happy for you right now. Like, I really am.
The Naya I remember from back at 200 subs.
Yeah, but where are the Tower of God videos at? What the fuck?
Yeah, Naya.
I never stopped. Listen. I posted 3 videos without posting a Tower of God video, and they started panicking. Like, are you done with Tower of God video? I'm like, bro, relax. We gonna be all right.
It sounds like me and the solo leveling fan base I have, because they're like, where's the next solo leveling reaction? I just want to let y'all know, fuck solo leveling. That's my answer. I am on such an aggressive stance against the manhwa. I haven't read a chapter since I got those 2 copyright strikes. They don't deserve anything. So no.
Damn.
No, I mean it is what it is.
But
Like,
he doesn't actually mean fuck Solo Leveling.
I mean,
he just means like
I mean that shit kind of mid.
I think it's more like I guess it's fuck Tappy Tunes is really what I'm about to say, but you know what I'm saying. Like
they got Milios with that shit too, man. Fuck Tappy Tunes.
Oh man, nah, but it is what it is. But let's not get too sidetracked. Drizzt, I know this is a redundant question, but let me change the question a tad bit. Has the recent chapters of Wano been more interesting to you than what you've been subjected to in the past?
Is recent the entirety of Onigashima, or
I would say once the raid kicked off. Let's go there. So like when they got to Onigashima and like Luffy and Zoro stormed the performance hall.
I would say no, is the reverse.
Oh, you think it got worse?
Well, in terms of like interest in plot lines, because there's not really many plot lines that were interesting or really that went anywhere for me. It was kind of like waiting to see how we would get to where we are right now.
Right.
So I would say the past couple chapters have been more interesting than many of the previous chapters, but not the raid as a whole.
Okay.
For me, at least.
Okay, that's fair. And I feel like a lot of people do share that sentiment. I don't know if you feel the same way, Virgo. But I would say
I've been thoroughly enjoying Wano as a whole. I don't know. I think it's been gas packed for me, just personally. I'm a meathead. I see fight. I see any punch clash. I jump. I like that shit. It is what it is.
So I was screaming glorious on-screen combat. Here we go. Like finally, like
we finally got it.
I'm not even a meathead, but I said, listen, throw away all that dialogue, throw away all that backstory, and punch each other. I'm not trying to see all this. If it's not a named attack, I don't need no text. I don't need it. I don't want to see it.
Nah, I mean,
I want to see hands, straight hands.
I think for me, I think I've been pretty vocal with the fact that I've not been highly impressed with Wano. I think there are portions of Wano that I enjoyed. I liked Act 1 a lot, except for the Big Mom Amnesia stuff. That was, to me, that's still cancer. No one will ever convince me otherwise. I did like the Yasue death. That's one of my favorites parts of Wano, of course. I know, like I said, I know you don't like it, but that's just me. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. And then you continue on, and the Odin flashback, I'm gonna reread it because I'm starting to hear people are changing their opinions on Wano after the reread, so maybe I'll check it out. But for now, I'm still down on it, mainly because of the scabbards. But I would say once Onigashima started going, and I mean, I'm not talking about like the voyage to there, Luffy and Kid and doing all the Gear Force attack, Jinbei coming back. Like, no, I'm talking about the moment Apu showed up. It's been interesting. And Wano is now going up on my scale, where before I would rate Wano as a 6, now it's at a 7. 7.5, honestly, after the last 2 chapters. So it's getting close to an 8 at the moment, but I'm still waiting. It's going in the right trajectory, and I hope it continues so I can give it an 8 and eventually a 9, hopefully, if they really deliver with the last moment. So
once Enma breaks, it's a 10.
If Enma breaks. And listen, we'll get to that when we talk about the community. But I'm saying
it's a 12.
I would say this, like, I started enjoying it from like the actual like ride to the island, because honestly, weirdly enough, I've started just taking certain things. I'm like, oh wow, they have long range cannons, and they like they went away and try to use them. I respect it. Right. It was brief, it was short, but I'll take it. So like there was just little things like that, and I'm like, you know what, I'll take it. And I was having a good time with it. I think Yamato could be interesting. I like the Flying Six, personally speaking. I think I'm higher on them than most people are. So I'm interested to see what they can do. Not the Spider Girl. I don't fuck with Arachnid, so I just don't want to see her. I'm like scared. I hope it looks goofy, because like if I have to read that, I will hide I'll like look through my fingers. Like, I don't like spiders. They terrify me.
You have arachnophobia?
Yeah. Well, I probably used to. I'm not as bad anymore, but they still creep me the fuck out.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
There was one in your bed.
Oh, you wildin'.
You know, I used to have pet tarantulas.
Pet tarantulas? Are you a psychopath?
Yeah, I've had 3 pet tarantulas.
Oh no.
So
technically they're my brothers, but it was basically a family pet. I'll let you know that pet tarantulas are, unless you get like a really active tarantula, they're incredibly boring things. They just sit still for like 9 hours a day.
I don't know, man. Just burn the house down after that.
That is
that
is a new reveal, Drizzt.
They eat like grasshoppers and crickets and stuff like that. I actually used to have a tarantula named after Invader Zim, where we would throw in like a cricket into his aquarium thing, and he would jump off the sides of the wall and catch it midair.
Oh, that's terrifing! Nah, I can't do that.
Absolutely.
I would fly out of I would fly out of your room. I would actually. You would never see me again, my nigga. I hope you know that. I'd get in that car and I'm gone. You'd never see me again.
Hell no!
Oh my word. So now that we have gotten our initial opinions of Wano out of the way, let's move on.
Fuck Odin.
You don't like Odin?
Nah. I thought I'll say this. It's not even that Odin's bad or whatever. I felt like Oda tried too hard. I don't think he gave me the chance to like him. He's like, look at him. He's the coolest guy ever. When he was 2, he beat up a boar. Then when he was 6, he ran through the red. Like, bro, calm that down. Give me a chance to like him. Like, it was so try hard in my opinion. So like, I just never warmed up to him. I don't hate the flashback at all. I did like seeing Rogers fighting the Morj and all that stuff, and I just like seeing Whitebeard. So it's just nice to see him in the crew, young Marco and all that stuff. But Christ, Odin, I felt like he was doing his most, and then he started twerking in the streets. And like, you know what? I'm just good on him, personally speaking.
You know, it's interesting because what I found, and Drizzt, I don't know if you can second this. I find out I think a large majority of people love Odin. A lot of people love
Unfortunately, that's usually just
a lot of people love it.
For me,
even if you go through.
No, go ahead.
Do you think?
All right, I'll go instead.
I was gonna say, I think, for me, Odin has always been cool. He's been cool. Like, I'll leave it at cool, and that's it. But he never really resonated with me. There was never really a moment where I'm like, oh my god, I love Odin. No. The only time I was ever intrigued by Odin was when we were first introduced, where he was just doing hood nigga shit the entire time. Like, you know, eating noodles on a dead body and like killing pigs and found out that
like, oh my god, hide the women, they're creaming. And I'm like, come on, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
Hood nigga shit?
Yeah, what you mean? Black Air Force energy? You remember that? Everyone was calling Odin a hood nigga. When Odin was first introduced, everybody was calling him a hood nigga. Everybody.
And quick side note, this has nothing to do with anything. Yo, on that cover, why is Izo holding the Thule to his forehead with the black glove? Like he an assassin, like he a killer, bro. Every time I look at it, it's so funny to me.
Nah.
I'm like, bro, he's got no fingerprints. You got the
just wait till he uses the murder bullets.
The murder bullets. Yes, just wait. You know what's funny? Man. I thought we would get more of Izo. I thought we'd get a little bit more of Izo. I'm not gonna lie, and we really did. I don't think
him being there was kind of surprising.
Very surprising.
How much did you like? What were you anticipating exactly?
I thought we get a little bit more of like his, journey on Whitebeard's ship. Maybe some dialogue with him and Kiku. You know what I mean? Like something nice like that. I don't know. It's the same thing with all the scabbards. They're just not enough for him. There's just not enough. The only one that has enough is Kinemon, and that's it. And okay, Ashura Doji, then Ashura Doji and Nekomamushi and Inuarashi. You got some. I'll take back Nekomamushi and Inuarashi. Ashura Doji's the other one.
I like the Minx and maybe Kinemon. Other than that, I don't give a shit about it.
Ashura Doji put Jack in a pack. He goated.
You like him because you hate Jack.
100% right. Any other questions?
I wasn't asking a question. That was a statement.
Low-key, I'm crying. It's low-key. But all right, so let's move on to the first topic. So this is, I know this is not toxic. No matter what you guys think it is, I'm trying to have a real discussion here. All right, I promise. I promise. Okay, I promise. So Zoro's role.
Why do you laugh, Frame? What?
Listen.
What this man said was Zoro.
All I said was Zoro. He started laughing. All right, listen. I'm being 100% serious here. All right, I promise. I swear. Zoro's role in Wano is a little bit different than what we're normally used to in most One Piece arcs, and Wano's obviously a different arc. So, is someone else watching the stream?
I am.
Oh yeah, nah. This stream is echoing through your mic.
Well, it's the volume's not even on.
What's happening?
I can hear it for some reason.
I think it's gone now. No, I still hear myself. Is that me?
I don't hear anything.
That's kind of
like I'm playing Mario Kart right now, and I have the volume muted. I have everything. I don't know what you're hearing. I don't hear anything from Naya or Virgo either. I think that might be on your end.
It might be. All right. Well, anywho,
I don't hear anything anymore.
Well, if the chat hears it, they'll let me know. He said, "That's me. My bad. Stop." All right. Let me get this out. Let's get this out. Now, Zoro is fighting the main antagonist or the main antagonists, and that's normally not his role in most of the arcs, all of the arcs that we've gotten. So is this Oda making a point to say that he's going to start putting Zoro in Luffy's realm of strength? Like, are we going to start, is the narrative that Zoro is comparable to Luffy finally going to happen as a result of what Oda is doing? Do you believe that's a thing?
And before we continue that, looks like the chat does hear the audio, so Jay, you might want to take a minute or two to just mess with it.
I think it's fixed now because I don't hear it anymore. So I don't know where it came from, but it's fixed now.
all I see is Bodega and chat. Bodega.
No, it's because of Virgo's camera froze, but I think it's fixed now. There you go. But yeah, were you anyone gonna answer the question?
So just to repeat the question, because I'm a bot. So you're just asking if the narrative of Luffy being comparable to Zoro is dead or alive, if this gives credence to it?
Yeah.
Not exactly. I hope not. I hope that's not exactly what you meant, Jay.
You're just asking the question.
I'm asking a question. That's the point, you know, that because he's here. He's at the rooftop. He's fighting the main antagonist. So Zoro's there.
So I'm gonna say no, and here's why. First of all, I've never gone along with that rhetoric. Like the Zoro fans are crazy. I don't know what's wrong with them. So like they're just in a realm of their own. Like, you know how they basically say that I think if I remember correctly, the prevailing argument is that he came into the new world stronger than Luffy, and Luffy had to get stronger through his fights and the gear for the yada yada X, Y, and Z. That's cap. The truth of the matter is that Zoro was arbitrarily getting stronger as the story is going along. That's because that's just how it is sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So, at the very least, with Zoro, I never particularly get mad with it, solely due to the fact that he actually just lifts weights and trains, sleeps, and drinks sake, right? He does be training, so I wouldn't put it past me that he never stops. So, for him to quote-unquote power up off-screen, it doesn't even bother me. I thought Oda made the statement immediately in the chapter 1001 with Luffy hurting Kaido. Like, yes, I can hurt you now. 2, you can't one-shot me. Even though he didn't actually get hit cleanly with the Thunder Bagua, he kind of dodged it because he saw it coming, but he just wasn't fast enough. So think about like when Rob Lucci jumped back from a jet pistol to mitigate the damage. Something similar to that. He kind of rolled with the club, if you will. But when Killer, I felt like when Killer and Zoro attacked, Oda made a statement with Kyle kind of being like, anyways, and then he kind of like, like not bad. You saw the mark in his neck, but it didn't actually do any damage. So I think that was him kind of showing they're still a step above the captains, but they do kind of belong here. The reason why it doesn't even bother me though, is because I feel like the only person that may have that was not supposed to be here originally, quote unquote, was probably Law, because Kid was supposed to be Luffy's kind of supernova rival. If you guys know this, but if anyone doesn't know in the chat, if you don't know this, the supernovas were kind of made up on the spot, like right before the chapter came up. But Kid and Killer were always the thing. So I think that was always supposed to happen. So like these two are going to be viable new generation people trying to become pirate kings, and their first mate, if you will, are like up there too. So I feel like Law is actually the one that maybe wasn't supposed to be there originally, so I have no problem with them being there. So to me, it doesn't necessarily mean, oh yeah, they were strong as their captains, but it's more like, no, they belong here because their goals, also Zoro's goal is strength related to becoming the best swordsman. So to me, it makes sense that he's there. I still probably would have had the Gold Hawkins up there, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, hell no. I'm about to say, yo, shut that rhetoric up right now, my nigga. We're not doing that. Hell no.
Turn it off.
Turn it off.
Turn it off.
That's what I got.
I feel like Zoro is he might have an exponential rise in strength. That we really can't doubt, no matter whether we believe in it, whether we're okay with how it happens. It's going to happen. It's currently happening. That being said, him being up there with Luffy, I don't see that. I don't see them in the same realm. I think kind of what Naya said, the captains are a step above right hands at this point. It was kind of funny, the comment that Killer made was like, yo, if I would have had my, what did he call them?
Punishers.
Death blades or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever, some shit like that. He's like, it would have been a different story. That's been an age-old argument since their Kamazo fight happened. But I feel like they are probably close to each other and comparable in strength. And I feel like you said, the Law, Kid, Luffy are a step above.
Drizzt?
All right, I had to mute my mic real quick. So where I stand on this is, I mean, whether or not you like it, I feel like everyone has the opinion that I don't like it, but that's how it is, sort of thing.
Yeah.
If you wanted to argue the opposite, you could put together an argument where it's like the captains are all together, but then Zoro's kind of like side stringed with Killer on the side. Zoro's not being put in panels with like Luffy.
Right.
Whenever all of the people, the important people are doing stuff, you could use that as an argument. But yeah, I mean, I think that Zoro's always been comparable, whether I like it or not.
Interesting. Okay, so I have been on the opposition. Obviously, you know how I am with the Zoro stands. Trying to look at this objectively and not subjectively. I think that Zoro will always be chasing Luffy's coattails. I always think that's how it's going to be. Because if we had an argument to put Zoro, it depends on how you define comparable. Because if we're talking comparable, we're talking like, say, Luffy could fight Aokiji and Akainu, but then Zoro is fighting Fujitora and Green Bull. And we, I feel like it's widely acknowledged in the community that we believe the older admirals, like Aokiji and Akainu, are stronger than the current admirals. Is that safe to say? Is that like a safe consensus?
That's what the community wants.
Yeah,
to think,
I don't agree with that, but yeah, I get it though. I get why they say that though.
Right, and then in terms of comparable, I believe that's what they believe they mean by comparable, where Luffy is still, the alpha male, but Zoro is close. He's like that close to him, and for me, I feel it's like Luffy can beat Kaido and do most of the work, and I believe Zoro has bursts of strength where he can actually fight at that level for a short period of time, but I don't think he'll be able to sustain that level. I just don't think he's going to get to those heights. I'm okay with that, and I think that's what's going to happen. I think Zoro is going to show off a little bit. He's definitely going to wound Kaido. He's going to, he's going to do what he has to do because he's there. He's on the rooftop for a reason, and I think that's it.
You want him with a broken sword?
I hope Enma breaks.
I would add this to this a little bit because I guess somewhat this might, like, your view on Zoro, whatever is like strength and stuff, would probably also be dependent on how you see Mihawk. And like, I'm one of those people who are like on the Shanks side of the argument, if you will. So like, I don't have Mihawk as high as a lot of people do, like that. Not that I'm saying he's weak or whatever, but it's just I'm not as high as Mihawk as a lot of people are. So that also plays into me being like, no, like Zoro's not like completely left in the dust right now, but I don't think Luffy would have any trouble beating him if he had to fight him. If Zoro had to fight Luffy right now, I don't think so. I don't think Luffy is struggling at all. I'm sorry.
Getting done like Kobe. I'm just kidding. He won't get done like Kobe. Only Kobe can get done like Kobe.
So my question is, and I guess we'll continue on because the narrative is Zoro has Enma. Sanji, I almost said Sanji. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said that. Forgive me, please.
Yeah, don't
please.
That was on your mind, bro.
You know why you said it.
It was. I didn't want to. I didn't want to go here. I didn't want to go here. It was an accident. It was just an accident. I swear.
Looks at the script.
It looks at script. Oops. Don't say Sanji in caps. Like it's all in caps. Kaido was waiting for a samurai. They've been calling Zoro samurai all of Wano. He's got Enma. He keeps talking about how you never opened up his wound. Do you think Zoro is just going to stop at opening up the wound? or do you think he's gonna kill him? And this is the end all be all. Is he gonna open up the wound to kill him? I think it's a foregone conclusion that one of these two are gonna happen.
Not to kill him. Also, Jay Morj is in the wrong chat.
No, I know. I told him to go. I'm gonna move him in now.
Nah, keep his ass over there.
I'm crying.
Interesting.
I don't think he's gonna kill him. I think that's.
They're gonna kill Kaido.
That's actually ironic. Morj made a video about why Zoro is killing Kaido. Go ahead and take it off, Morj.
Go ahead, Morj. Why don't you just?
Oh no!
Oh no!
Morj, I love you, man. Morj, I love you, but I don't want to go on a 15-minute monologue.
All right. I can't believe we're finally doing this after all these times I've skipped out on you.
About time you. Yeah, you're a piece of shit.
No, I swear. Every time I see you send a link, I'm like, next time for sure. And then the next time comes around, I'm like, next time for sure.
You've been telling me this for like a year.
Dude, but you always look at what JD did.
That's what Pharaoh does to me.
I like this burn. Look what JD did.
Look what JD
did. All he did was say, "Hey, in a few hours, you want to hop in the call." That's all he needed to do. Not like just drop a stream and be like, "Hey, do it right now." That's it. That's all he had to do.
He makes a valid argument.
You do be doing. So we throwing a race card out. Is that what we doing? Oh.
Fucking head. A whole new president. We still supporting this behavior, Morj? Okay.
I don't even know how I got this.
This is the Henny Cool Brothers, Morj. You
just get used to I'm just joshing, bro.
He's nice.
I'm messing.
But yeah, no. So Morj, first of all, welcome to the Henny Cool Brothers.
Yeah, thanks for the invite.
Definitely happy to have you here. So
yeah, thanks for your invite.
Before we get back to the topic, I asked everyone here, has their rating of Wano increased ever since we started in the raid of Onigashima? Like, how are you feeling about Wano now as a whole?
Don't lie to him, Morj.
Oh, it's so tricky. Drizzt knows.
What are you gonna say, Morj?
No. Okay. Here's the full picture. Right now, I'm in like in the middle stage. All right, because I don't know if you guys know, but I've been talking a lot about how I don't know if this is going to be the end, but it's looking like it might be the end. Here's how I feel right now. So for a lot of the raid, I felt like maybe Oda's moving things along a little quick, not really getting the build up, or kind of not lingering in a lot of the plot lines that he's developing. I mean, Chopper's the big standout example there, right, with his curing the Ice Oni situation. But I am liking the last two chapters just because, I've been following One Piece for so long. There's been so much long-term build up towards this sort of a moment. So it's hard for me not to just enjoy the last couple chapters and seeing what's happening there. So here's where I'd say, all right? I feel like Oda, if this is the final battle, I'm still hoping it's not, but if it is the final battle, I feel like within the context of Wano, Oda didn't necessarily build up enough dramatic. There wasn't enough investment for me personally, emotionally, dramatically, in terms of like getting to the point of Luffy and everybody facing off with Kaido. But in the broader sense of the story, like how long has he been building up the showdown with the Yonko? It's like the battle is going to be exciting no matter what, pretty much. So does that make sense? I guess in the short term of Wano, I feel like I'm not quite there. But if I look at it in the long term, if I were to read, the time skip from start to finish, I'd be pretty hyped where we're at right now.
No, are you saying it's giving you personal payoff? Personal payoff?
It's giving me like hype payoff because it's just hard. Like even if I feel like we didn't get that much dramatic build up over the course of Wano, it's hard for me not to look at like panels with the Yonko and everything like that, and the 3 supernovas. I mean Zoro and Killer too, and not feel excited because of the long term what Oda's built over like 600, 700 chapters. It's just recently over the stretch of Wano. I feel like the storyline of the samurai and everything like that, I didn't feel like the Straw Hats themselves were that involved in the events of Wano to the point that I feel like the same way I would at the climax of any Slobby, for example. You get what I'm saying?
I think so. And I actually might be on the opposite end of the spectrum, solely to the fact that I kind of like that there's not that much personal investment for once, where it's like, yo, we all are trying to get to become Pirate King. Sorry, I was looking at something. I also changed the thought for a second. We all want to become Pirate King, and that's enough for me. Kaido wants to be Pirate King. You're in the way. For me, that's enough. But there's a couple little things there that like I know like what you're saying, that they didn't expand upon them in great detail, but there's enough little things here that I'm like, okay, like I can feel somewhat of emotional investment, but you're right, it's mostly like a hype thing. There was the A stuff, right? So that kind of counts. I know the Tama thing, so like there's certain little things here and there, and he did travel with some of the samurai, and he, you know, Ryza was safe. Like there's things that I can go back to be like, no, there's some more personal investment here, but for me, it's enough that we're both pirates. We want to become Pirate King. You're in my way, so you got to go down. I'm okay with that.
I would love it if Luffy lost here and then had to come back with a little extra edge on it, but I don't know if that's going to happen at this point. All I'll say is Act 3 is supposed to be the act of tragedy, right? It's supposed to be the act of tragedy. Where's the tragedy?
Yo, drop that motherfucking Island Flower Capital, please.
I guess
drop that.
The tragedy is the scabbards going down.
The scabbards didn't even go down. That's the great part. They're still alive.
They're still alive.
So if that's not happening, I'm really happy to see that. They're still alive. That means it's got to come from somewhere else.
Okay, I was about to say you're happy. I'm actually bitterly disappointed, but I understand why you're happy, right? I understand.
No, you get why because I'm like, it's going to come from somewhere else.
Yeah, I understand. For the sake of your, we'll call this an agenda because that's what we do here. We do agenda. So we'll call that your agenda. For the sake of your agenda, you're happy. But for me, I'm bitter. I'm going to tell you why. Because Kaido was beating the shit out of these scabbards off screen for God knows how long. And I'm talking full-on whales with his club. Kaido was talking about how there's glory in dying. And you will die by my hand, or like there's no glory dying by you. And then Kaido spends half his time beating the shit out of the scabbards, and they're still breathing. All of them. So, I know One Piece isn't dark. I know people don't die in One Piece.
Can we counter contrast?
What can you counter?
We counter contrast and say how Henny said that he would find no honor in dying from him?
No, because Kaido lied. I'm not having that. I refuse. All right.
I mean, Jay, I still think if this, I don't know if this helps at all, but I still think even with my agenda, right, I still think the scabbards are going to die just at a more meaningful point. I think that, like, they could, whether it's in the climax of Act 4 or something like that, I still think, you know, they've talked about dying for so long. I still think they're going to die. I just think that maybe this wasn't the moment for it or something like that. Although it could have been. That's just my only thought. I would be disappointed if all of the scabbards are intact by the end of this, you know, the storyline.
You know, it's really hinting to it, and it scares me. It really does. But again, that goes back to the point where, like, the lack of emotional investment, which is something I've harped on for a long time about Wano, is that I'm just not emotionally invested. And the flashback actually worsened my emotional investment. But I'm not saying that they need, like, deaths in One Piece rarely happen. I mean, look, Pound is still alive. So, I mean, that's all you need to know. Pell, still alive.
Nigga, Pell,
I guarantee. It makes
me so mad that Drizzt called that a long time ago.
So long ago.
That's right.
And
we'll
we'll get into it later, but 1,000% chance Orochi is alive. I believe Orochi's alive. Yeah. There's no way he's not dead.
Sure.
No.
I agree with that as well. And Jay, I have a question.
What's up?
Overall,
for you as well. Exactly. Actually, I want to say, does there have to be a prominent death for this war to be meaningful?
Yes. There has to be. In my opinion, there has to be. This is like end game stuff here. This is supposed to be moving us into the end game of One Piece. And if you look at the scale of the battle that we have, it's very similar to Marineford. And the types of people that we're fighting here, we're fighting the top of the line. We're fighting top tiers here. The top shelf. There has to be, I believe,
people that shape our top 10 in our polls. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there has to be a death to really add in that fear factor of what's happening here, to really like show that reverence of Big Mom and Kaido. And they didn't really deliver it with the scabbards, but I'm hoping that, you know, a Straw Hat, I feel like a Straw Hat might be too aggressive. I mean, obviously I'll throw Chopper's hat in the ring. Hopefully he dies, but we'll leave that one alone.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely.
If a scabbard does die and they deliver it well, like if Kinemon dies before he sees Suru, I think that would hit. I think
it would have to be Kinemon. If it's just one scabbard, it would have to be Kinemon. Because nobody else is going to really carry that if it's just one of them by themselves.
Exactly.
What you mean? You wouldn't feel Kawamatsu?
I forgot Kawamatsu exists.
Ryza was not safe.
So as we move on, so we're back to the Zoro talk, and I think I'll let you wrap it up because I think we've talked about it quite a bit. But Morj, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on Zoro's role in Wano and the fact that he is fighting the main antagonist for the first time in the story. Do you believe that this is a message from Oda to put Luffy and Zoro in a comparable, in a comparable state where Zoro is maybe minorly like he's like right there with Luffy when we're talking about Fujitora and Kizaru and Aokiji and all of them. Like that's the gap. Like it's a very minor gap.
And before you answer, keep in mind that we are recording this, so I can't share this to Twitter at any point in time.
Please, all right. So, I mean, I did a video on this recently, actually. Like, I think that the big things that everybody always argues are is Zoro closer to Luffy or Sanji, right? That's what it always comes down to. Like, is he like neck and neck with Sanji or really neck and neck with Luffy? Nobody thinks that Luffy and Sanji are neck and neck, right? So it's basically Zoro closer to A or B. I think that Oda is always comfortable with keeping Zoro's gap and who he's closer to ambiguous. And I think that you can point to lots of times in the story that Oda writes Zoro as being that guy that, he is like 1A and 1B with Luffy at moments, right? I think Oda really likes writing him in like that in moments. And then I think Oda is just as comfortable at other times really playing Sanji up in the dynamic of the whole monster trio and saying that, no, these are Luffy's right and left-hand men. And that's their dynamic, basically. So I think it's whatever Oda is trying to focus on at that moment. If you're saying in the context of like Wano, I mean, again, I don't think the arc's anywhere near over. I think Zoro's going to get his own 1v1 at some point. Like, I don't think it's just going to be... I don't think he's going to be fighting Kaido from here to the end of the arc. I think he's going to get a 1v1 at some point. And, if that 1v1's king and Sanji ends up fighting Queen, then, like, you can keep on debating it till the end of the series. Pretty much it.
Fair enough. Do you think that Zoro will get a scar or a hit on Kaido beforehand, if that were to be the case?
But he's gotta. I mean, okay, hold up. There was a lot of talk when the scabbards were cutting up Kaido, right? Like every scabbard could cut Kaido to some degree, weak or small or whatever. Maybe not every scabbard, but a lot of the scabbards could get their cuts in on Kaido and everything. We can assume Zoro is stronger than a lot of them, but this just went to show that, having the technique or knowing the actual skill of, what is it? What are we calling it now? Second level Rio or whatever, right? Having that skill is really important for actually being able to pull that off. So I think, yeah, for sure, by the end of the arc, Zoro is definitely going to get something really, really big in on Kaido. But I just think that it's funny that, like, so many people were saying that, if the scabbards are doing this to Kaido, imagine what Zoro can do to Kaido. It's like, Zoro can't cut Kaido, guys. Like, it's way too early.
I agree.
The problem being... Go ahead, Jim.
No, go ahead. I just said I agree. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was saying the problem being is that if he does not do anything here, say he doesn't even scar Kaido or anything like that, and goes to his own 1v1, then him being on the rooftop during that little moment of the next 5 to lead the new generation was pointless.
Oh, I definitely think that Zoro's going to have a really big... Like, I think all of the framing and the setup, shadowing, whatever you want to call it, has been there, that Zoro is going to have a really, really big moment against Kaido. I just think that it's nice to see that, like, it's not that quick, that Zoro can just walk in and touch Kaido's neck,
not that free for him.
Yeah. I'd like to see Zoro use like Ashura or something like that from pre-time skip, see how it's upgraded. Would probably look a lot cooler with his new hockey and everything like that. So I think we got to see him get pushed like really hard.
I think my thought, and this is what I've always wanted, I think that it would make a lot more sense if Zoro were to go to the extreme and Ashura would be the one thing that would allow him to reopen that scar that Kaido has, but that's about it. I feel like that would give Zoro enough of the, I think it would appease the Zoro stance at the very least if he were to do that, because it'd be a good moment for everyone. We get to see Ashura again. Enma's whole role in the story has been fulfilled with reopening the wound. Parallels to Odin, it would have been done, and then Zoro can go fight King, and then we're good. We're all good,
Kaido should acknowledge him, all of that, so because right now Kaido's like no samurai since Odin. There's not been a samurai since Odin who can, actually cut me or something along those lines. I forget the exact quote. I think Kaido's got to acknowledge him, so it's got to get in like a really big cut like that.
Yeah.
And then that'll check that box off.
And then he gets Bogwood. A couple floors below. Correct.
All right.
Plus this whole thing ends with failure. That's all I have. And then never mind.
You really no, you said it. We heard it. So it's on record. So you wanted to fail. I understand. Ends in cap. So on to the next topic. So now we are talking, and this is actually a more, I feel like it's a split in the opinion of the community. Eustace Kid, and I'll throw Killer in as well, but the main topic will definitely be Eustace Kid. I'm disappointed with how Kid has been used up to this point. But what do you still have hope for Kid in this arc? And this question's open to everybody. What are your expectations now? Do you think Kid is just going to be a side character in this fight? Or is he actually going to be given feats that put him as the rival of Luffy, as we all expect him to be?
Well, if he's going to continue to think that he's going to crush Kaido to death, absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. Listen. I'm doing my best to like. I'm trying to like Kid. I'm trying my best.
Me too.
I want to like him.
I'm a Kid supporter.
I'm so trying to like him. People don't understand, and I'm not. I haven't given up or anything of the sort, right? Like it's early. We'll see what happens. But when he said, "Can you become compacted and crushed to death?" I'm like, bro. You just made big metal arms again and noogied him? Come on. Like, bro. I need you. I need more from you. I need you to do something. Show me something.
That was so bad.
He looks super cool in the cockpit and is like floating shit like, okay, I'm with this. This looks dope. I like it. And then he just used big metal arm again. Is this all you do and fling metal? I need more from him. Because he's always bumping his fucking gums. You guys came up here to watch me be Kaido. He always talking shit.
People's expectations for Kid were so high that like people kind of just gave Law a pass. Because if anything, Law had by far the most pathetic attempt at taking down Kaido I could possibly imagine. He just threw rocks at it.
That's a good point.
So he said, I will use surgery and beat you from the inside. I'm like, you just use rock throw?
Man, you use rock slide like an Onyx, bro. Straight up use rock slide.
Wait. The sharp points were hockey tipped. Does that not mean anything? Does that not hold weight?
Bro, everybody's bringing out these dope ass moves, and this nigga Law used tact, which he used on Smoker, which did nothing. So what the fuck did you think was gonna happen to Kaido?
I'm only mad because he's like, I will give you a swift death with my surgery from the inside. Like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. All right, grab a knife, cool. And then you threw rocks. I'm like,
that's like in the fighting game, whenever the two fighters are about to fight each other, and like they see some generic intro lines, and then they start doing random moves. That's exactly what Law did.
Exactly, bro. Like he says, I'm gonna destroy you from the interior. Yet his attack was completely exterior. So what the fuck?
That being said, I did think it was an interesting panel because, like, with Gear 4th and with is it Punk? What's it called again? Punk, not Punk Gibson.
Punk Rotten.
Punk Vice or something.
Punk Rotten, right? Like you have this incredibly cool visual. Right. Then Law's just like sitting there, like with his hand, like his finger up, like bro. I don't know why.
It looked kind of cool.
People were saying I thought Punk Rotten was really cool. Like I'm a big Kid fan. As much as we've seen of Kid, like obviously hard to get attached to him. It looks
so dope.
I thought Punk Rotten looks great. So cool. In my mind, like Kid is gonna be a very big part of this. It just depends at the moment based on like, is he really going to show up the next few chapters, or is it kind of going to be like he needs to kind of go through something and have to unlock some new level of visibility or something in real time? That's just the way I'm looking at it.
All I know is that his initial #1 plan is not it.
He's like, I'm gonna bring a lot of metal and punch him even harder than I did the last time. And I'm like, please tell me you have another plan. For the love of Christ. Please tell me this.
That's literally what he's going for.
That being said, I'm not worried about Law, though. Like, Law is going to be able to hold his own just based off his ability. I'm never worried about it, to be honest. I'm never worried about it.
I can't even hang with Doflamingo. I don't even know what Law's doing.
But I think you weren't here when I said this, but I think Law has been arbitrarily just powered up as the series has gone along. Like, I think he's much stronger now. Like, I don't think Doflamingo will beat him anymore. It doesn't make sense. I understand it.
When did we even see that? We didn't even see that, though. Like,
I'm just saying, like, the fact that he's here and I think he's going to be extremely useful. I'm not telling you I'm right. That's just what I believe, because I'm like,
that's fair.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying.
Gentlemen, check me out. Y'all played Naruto Ninja Storm, or you had support characters that just come in? Like that's what Law is perfect for. He's gonna come in, he's gonna do some random shit. He's gonna really help out the initial fight. That's what it is. Be a great support.
Get a gamma knife in there or something. Counter shock. I don't know.
If they really wanted to do this right, it should just be everyone trying to jump Kaido at once, and then Law just like swapping Luffy in for whoever's got the blind spot, and then Luffy just hitting him. That should just be it. That should be the entire fight over and over.
That. Apparently, Luffy's the only one who can hurt him since Kid thinks he can crush him to death.
So does no one put any stock into the fact that he actually can quote hockey onto things that are within his room? Because I didn't know Law could do that. I feel like that's actually...
Is it confirmed?
No, he can do that either.
Is it confirmed he can do that, or is that just shading and stuff?
Well, I mean, it's pretty aggressive for shading. If you look at it, it's pretty straightforward that it's hockey, because it's every rock that he picks up is like I don't think the word is tipped, doused in hockey. It looks like it's completely doused in hockey, like the sharp parts. Yeah, and if it was just shading, I feel like it would be the volume.
Exactly the first I'm hearing of it.
I see what you're saying.
The volume of blackness wouldn't be as much as it is. So I know how that sounded. I know how that sounded, right? But I'm trying to articulate this, and I'm not doing a good job.
Yeah, I'm telling.
So my thing is that if the theme of this arc is that we're going into new levels of hockey. We're learning about Rio. We're learning about, the fact that, okay, you can actually wound Kaido with physical blows, but then there's also the Rio that the swordsman use where you can actually cut Kaido with it. Do you think it's a case that Law could know that other version of hockey as well and then use that within objects of his room, and maybe that's like a little power up from him as well that we haven't seen? That kind of coincides with what Naya said.
Would be cool.
Jay, at this point, anything's possible. Said that maybe...
I think from Law's comment, I don't think he knows how to use the hockey. Did Law comment on it? I don't think Law knows how to use the hockey that Luffy used.
No,
I doubt it. No. But we're talking about just...
I don't think anyone can except for Luffy.
I think Garp... Actually, I think Garp can. I feel like Garp can.
Oh, no. I meant people who are on the roof.
Shanks can.
I meant people on the roof, not like in general. Sorry, I just talk about people.
Oh, on the roof. Okay. Oh, okay. What was your question, Virgo?
I said, were you the one that said that the gamma knife might be a version of that hockey?
No, that wasn't me.
That'd be interesting.
It would be interesting, but no.
I just think he'll be able to do it be able to do damage because of his ability. That's because he kind of gets a bypass. But Kid's gonna have to do something. Big metal arm, noogie, not it, brother.
He does have to do something. I don't know how he's gonna actually damage Kaido. I just don't see it. I don't see how he does it. You're not gonna pulverize Kaido. That's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work.
Not turning into a fucking rock'em sock'em robot every time, my guy. That's not what it is. It's not gonna rock like that.
Because like I want to know if like the actual like machine Gundam, whatever you want to call it, he's in has other functions where it's like, can he? I am praying he can somewhat to some degree manipulate the electromagnetic spectrum. I might be going too far with that, but I need
electromagnetic spectrum. What are you talking about?
I need some Magneto. That's what I need, bro. That's what I need.
Yo, Hemmingz.
Yo. I need help. I need more. I just need more from him. I don't have to tell you. I need more. So Slinging metal and big metal punch is just not doing it for Naya. I don't know what to tell you.
Big metal punch is not doing it for Virgo either.
I don't think there's a single person in the community where big metal punch is doing it for him.
You'll be surprised.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
So then my question as well is, this is with Killer's comment as well. If I had my Punishers, it would have been a different story. And Zoro was like, yeah, all right. Do you guys actually believe that it matters that much that Killer didn't have his actual weapons of choice?
They were both nerfed though. Like I feel like I think they would have had a much better fight, but I don't think Zoro would.
Here's a question for you, Jay. Why didn't he have them?
That's actually a good question. That's a good question.
They gave they took away his Punishers, but they gave him size. What the fuck? What?
What? That's
the thing with that is,
what is that? What? Where did
that really goes back to, do you think that the weapon makes the man? So apparently Killer does. Killer thinks the weapons make him, apparently, because he's mentioned that. So I think he deems himself stronger with those. So I don't know.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's a matter of fighting style. But the scythe is not the same. What he has it like attached to his arm. I don't know what to tell you about that.
Yeah, I can see how you could be a bit more mobile.
But that initial fight, I see it like I'll give Zoro the edge, but I saw it more as a draw, just because right after Killer goes down, Zoro passes out immediately after, and if what was his name? Yukimaru, the little fox. What was his name? Can you guys remind me?
Yeah.
Like, if he wanted to rob him for the rest of him shits, he could have done that. So to me, it's like, that's not a clean W if you want to give him the W. But end of the day, I don't think Zoro's weaker than Killer. I'm sorry. I just don't.
I don't think he is either.
No, I definitely think. Look, I mean, my opinion is kind of weird on this because at least, it's very hard for me to separate the idea that I think that they're not going to succeed here, right? So in my view, I think Killer is very, very possibly not making it out of this fight.
Wow.
So like my view of it is basically that I don't think that he's like necessarily a long-term character that's going to be around. So whether or not he could do better with his normal, whatever they are,
Punishers.
Whatever it is, if he could do better with his Punishers or whatever, I don't think it even like really matters because I don't know if he's making it out basically.
So are you?
I would never go that far.
Do you think Killer's going to die?
I could care less. I don't give a fuck if he dies or lives. I just don't give a fuck.
Morj, so my question for you is, if he dies here, what do you do with Kid in the future?
So I actually think, okay, you probably don't remember, but I talked to you about it like way back when. I don't want to share it here because it's like a juicy theory.
Just shut up. Talk about it. Come on, bro.
No, juicy theory. I'll tell you guys after.
Someone give us a theory here?
Post-recording. You guys are down for that, but I'm not sharing it here.
Fair enough. I think it is a little bit wild. I think it's a little bit wild that Killer would die. I just thought about it just now, and I'm thinking like, Killer like sacrifices himself to save Kid or something like that, and Kid is like, Killer, no, and kind of just slams his club to the ground. He just gets squished and blood is everywhere. Like that thought just came to my mind. Now, knowing that Kid has a childhood friendship with Killer, to the point where he got himself locked up again just to bring Killer back. For Kid's character and a possible, emotional power-up, we're talking Dragon Ball Z style, I would like it. If that's what brings Kid to the next level, I would like that.
If Killer did not have the affliction from Smile, I would find it more believable. From a writing standpoint, it finds me hard. I find it hard that he has this affliction, and then he's just going to die because then you would never have to have given it to him.
Oh, because you could say that basically, like that was hit number one on Kid's situation, and then this kind of
you could say that, but I don't. I find it, especially for Oda, in the way that he writes, I don't know if he would do something like that.
But that's part of what would make it more effective, because at the moment...
Well, I agree with you. Like, there are a lot of things that can make it more effective, right? But I'm not necessarily sure if it's realistic.
Oh, sure. Oh, okay.
I feel like one of the things that will happen at the end of the arc with like Law and maybe Marco too, now that he's here, and Chopper and Tandem are gonna find a way to, if not mitigate, completely kind of reverse the side effects somehow. As like we're all partying, happy, eating, and everyone's better now. Like that moment. So like that's kind of my train of thought. But again, if Killer dies, I literally wouldn't bat an eye, bro.
You guys
what's funny, Hemmingz?
On if one of these guys is gonna die, who's it gonna be? What person goes out of these five?
Oh, out of these five?
Be Law then, right?
No, I know. Actually, I used to think Law would die in Wano. I think it's impossible for Law to die in Wano now.
Yeah.
I think any of the criminals dying here, I think they have immunity here.
Everybody?
Yeah, I don't think there's any chance that anyone dies out of the 5 main fighters.
I don't think.
Yeah, I think they got immunity here.
I think somebody will get knocked out of commission, but I don't think they'll die.
Yeah,
I think one of these 5 is going to get folded.
Anybody can. I think X-Rick could die if he ever makes his way up there.
Who?
He said X-Drake.
Listen, get my guy Hawkins on the roof. You know what I'm saying?
I think
pull up the tarot cards.
I think his role
yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what we need.
Hawkins will be fine. I think X-Drake's role with S.H.I.E.L.D. was already passed, just to say that he's infiltrating places and there's S.H.I.E.L.D. members all over the place. I think his role there is done. I don't know if he really has more towards
Morj, question for you. So, I'm assuming since you asked that question, you think that, you said Killer has a chance of dying, and I think you also said that you think at least one of the Scabbards is dying. How many deaths do you think are going to happen and or are needed?
Okay, let's say there's no failure, right? If there's no failure...
under the stipulation that there's no failure, yes.
Okay, under the stipulation there's no failure, I think at least some Scabbards have to die, right? At least some Scabbards have to die, so at least Kinemon. I still think Law goes. I feel like he's got to go at some point in the story just because of his ability.
Yep.
I feel like his storyline started with Kaido, right? His storyline started with Kaido, basically telling Luffy, like, we're going to team up to take this guy down. Most of his, past, his issues, everything like that, resolved in the Dressrosa arc. He does owe Luffy some sort of a debt, even if that's not, explicitly being talked about or anything like that. I just don't think he's got this goal of trying to figure out the Will of D. We might delve a little further into that. I do think
are you still that strongly believing that even after his little tidbit with Robin? After that, like, he's still growing in his knowledge.
I would like to think that basically, if Oda is at least being slightly unpredictable, he's trying to make us not, because everybody going into this arc already felt like Law was, on death row, right?
I didn't.
It's just like over the course of it.
You're saying he's building our comfort level?
A lot of people, at the very least, felt like Law was on death row after we found out that stuff in Dressrosa, right? So I think at the very least, the fact that a lot of people don't think that Law is necessarily on death row anymore, hopefully Oda was trying to steer us a little bit away from that. I do think, like, a lot of the characters that Oda kills, is though he kills a lot. Okay, at least, like, Whitebeard or, like, Ace, right? Like, Oda does like to kind of resolve or have them find happiness in some sort of way, and then I think leave them with something unfulfilled. So with Ace, we found people who loved him, something along those lines. Whitebeard, he got his family, but they both died unfulfilled in some way. I think with Law, the characters somewhat set up similarly. Like, that's just my feeling, but, if Oda doesn't feel like killing Law anymore, then that's just what it is.
So I definitely think Law is going to die at some point in time. His ability mandates that he's going to use it at some point in time. Otherwise, there'd be no point in doing it. However, I don't think... There are two things for me that make it almost impossible for that to be in Wano. One is kind of the lack of importance around this idea of Law and Wano. And two... Well, actually, I guess it'd be three. Two is the recent caring about the Will of D, but three is actually Dofi. If Law died here with Dofi still being alive and there's no punishment, I feel like that's going to be weird. I think Law can only die whenever Dofi is brought back into the story, because I think they're going to meet again.
Ooh.
See, I don't know if that, like, that would be interesting for sure, but I definitely think that, like, in general, with, like, a lot of these sort of revenge cases and everything like that, like, Oda kind of treats it as, like, once the bad guy is beaten up and, like, gone, that's kind of... Like, Doflamingo might come back. It depends if Oda is going to bring Doflamingo back into the story or if he's actually going to have him assassinated or something along those lines. But I think that Law was fairly satisfied with what happened with Doflamingo. I don't think we got any indication that he needs something more out of that. You know what I mean?
Well, it's not necessarily about Law's personal satisfaction. It's kind of more from my perspective of, let's say Law died in Wano, and you look at the story, Law's revenge on Dofi is going to be he put him in jail for maybe a couple weeks, and then Impel Down's going to be broken out of again, and then Dofi's out free in the world.
It depends.
That's not necessarily a very satisfying conclusion to Law's revenge.
Depends on if Doflamingo, where his storyline goes. I would really love the idea that, like, he actually does get assassinated in Impel Down. Like, I would really, really prefer that Oda kind of just goes through with that. I'm fine with Impel Down being broken out of again, but let Doflamingo die, despite him being a very popular character.
I mean, it would be interesting if he did die.
Mary Joy's treasure.
Yeah, I think that he's going to be brought back in, like, at the end of the war, or at the beginning of, like, the end of One Piece. Almost all of the villains that are kind of in the past are going to be brought back into that.
Don Creek, let's go.
Don Creek,
yes, sir.
Don Creek could actually come back.
Don Creek could actually come back.
Yes, sir.
I just view as a tricky case because, like, he's a post-time skip villain, and, like, he's kind of just such a big deal that, like,
it's because he's a big deal, though, because he's not important enough where, like, he needs to die. Even people are going after him. The fact that people are going after him, I don't think he's going to get hurt. If anything, he would be saved.
The thing is,
I think we're just gonna have to wait, because to me, it's kind of like once Kaido if Kaido or Big Mom would be captured, I don't think they're coming back into the story again, just because at this point we're dealing with.
They're kind of, I agree with you there. Actually, I think Big Mom and Kaido, their deaths are necessary.
Yeah.
For the future of just the way that the Yonko system works in Luffy's goal. Dofi's in a different situation altogether. He's like the New Age Crocodile, and Crocodile came back.
I think that at his position in the story, it's kind of like Crocodile, Lucci, these guys were small potatoes. It's more interesting to bring them back and see how they do in the new world, in a new context, with them having developed further. But Doflamingo, I don't know what bringing him back does. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong. I just kind of predict that. Like,
you don't think that his purpose may just be to deal with the information that we know that he knows that we don't know, such as like the secret.
I think they're going to find that out. I think they're going to find that out regardless. Like I don't know, but I feel like there's other ways we can get that. Basically,
well, one thing I think one thing that you have to mention is that he did say that they sent an assassin to get him, so he needs to be silenced in general, and I feel like that's a plot point that needs to be addressed regardless. And if he does escape from prison, that would activate either CP0 coming back, with Rob Lucci possibly actually being a part of the fur again. So there could be a clash between Dofi and Rob Lucci. CP0 becomes an actual antagonist where we're trying to deal with Doflamingo. Law is outside. So you kind of have, that's where you get like little things like that where Law is still relevant. Dofi's out. He wants to go after Law. We found out Law's a part of Sword, so then he actually has a reason. He has like the jurisdiction to actually go after Doflamingo. Rob Lucci's like, we can't let Doflamingo talk, so we got to go after him, and then we kind of have a conflict of interest there. Which, I mean, I always wanted a Marine arc in general, because I feel like a Marine arc would be really nice. Well, not an arc, like a mini arc, like a Reverie arc, something like that. But that is a way that you could bring Law back into the story. You could find out about the D's, because clearly Doflamingo knows about the big treasure. He hates the D's, pause. And then you also have the fact that if Doflamingo reveals to Law why he hates him so much, why he hates the D's so much, then it's like you're bringing everything together, and everyone still has a role in the story to have. So I definitely feel like Doflamingo still has a major, major role in the story, and you can do a lot with him. You can do a lot.
Maybe. I guess it's just like what you kind of expect to happen next. I do think, like Drizzt, you're right that like Law has not had a big role in Wano, so for this to be the arc for him to go feels definitely feel a little bit out of the blue, and I might just be looking more so back at like where his storyline started and where it kind of feels right, but not looking as much as maybe Oda didn't have space to talk a lot.
Definitely means something.
We'll just have to see.
That's interesting. I felt like the Doflamingo's thematic role was over. I didn't have anything else left with him to do, to be honest. Yeah, I think you guys have made some good cases. I don't agree, but I think you made a good case though. Like I can see why you think that.
Well, the reason I make that is that.
Go ahead, bro. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, do you think that there's a reason that they keep showing him over and over again with these little tidbits?
No, like I think the assassin thing makes sense to some degree. Like, okay, maybe that's the time we learn about it. But to me, I felt like his role as a kind of gatekeeper of the new world, by holding all the reins and doing all these underground things. Once he kind of went down, it basically was like, okay, anarchy ensues now. Everything's open. The top dogs are going to move. The new generation is going to try to overtake them. I thought like his thematic role for the most part was over. That doesn't mean he couldn't have a moment or something, but I didn't really see him coming out of jail and meeting Law again. None of that crossed my mind. But honestly, I don't too much think about the end game of One Piece like that as often as other people do. I kind of just stay in the moment.
Okay, well, that's fair enough.
Yeah, that is fair.
What's funny is I think like a lot of people have like a really clear idea of what One Piece's endgame is going to be, and like in everybody's head it's like, yeah, obviously it's going to be something like this, this, and this, and then when you talk to other people, you find out it's like totally different from somebody else's thing.
Yeah, I would say I think the only thing that I've always believed for years is that like I make the joke that Black Beetle will rip off Shanks' other hand and beat him to death with it, but I do think Blackbeard's going to kill Shanks.
What the fuck? I've never heard you say that.
I've also never heard you say that.
I say it all the time.
I've known you for 4 years and you've never said that once.
Because if you say, hey, so who you want to become Pirate King? It's gotta be Teach, bro. I need it to be Teach. That's what I need.
Rip off his other arm and beat him to death with it.
Just a minor detour. Big Rick in the chat. I saw 2 people fighting in the chat. Rick just timed them out for 10 minutes, so I'm kind of crying. He's like, I got an impelled down jailer in my chat. He's not playing with these niggas, dog. That was funny. That was hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. But anywho, let's move on to the next topic. We're gonna try and speed through the next
King of
two.
the Indies heard me say it before. I've said it before.
You have. Big Mom. How do you guys feel about Big Mom in Wano and how she's being used? I'm opening Pandora's box here, but that's why I have this question.
I'm actually interested to see what other people think because my opinion's already known.
We know you.
The starting point for that one because she's a fucking joke.
All right. So Big Mom, I'm in the same camp as Kid. I'm trying to like you. I'm doing my fucking best.
Not even trying.
I want to like Big Mom because there's always these moments and instances where I'm like, okay, there we go. Like, pretty menacing, pretty interesting. You know, like you're showing. She's obviously very strong. That's the one thing I always think. She's never been weak, but like with the amnesia and waiting and all that, every time I think of Big Mom, I just get a fucking headache. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like I'm trying though, but we'll see. This is her last chance. This is the final stab for me. If you got to do something, show me something.
Bro, even now, Kaido's just like, get in the bag, Lin.
Yeah, but she's like, you're playing with your food again type beat. Like this is something that Kaido usually does. So it's like, I don't know. Like there's all these little moments where I'm like, okay, I see some intrigue here. Because even when I first saw Big Mom, I'm like, oh wow, like her intel and information system for Whole Cake Island is pretty vast. I'm interested. That's dope because they had Zeph and all that things on this way. I'm all right. I respect it. And then I'm like, this is not your level of competency. This is like your kids and your crew doing this because all you do is get hungry and rampage and break shit. Like, come on, dog. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't hate her as much as other people do.
And get embarrassed by non-Yako level characters.
I don't hate her like other people do, but I'm at the point where like I'm at my wit's end with her. Like, you got to show me something, or else I'm just gonna like have to lock. Like Finn the human. Like, I lock it in the vault and don't think about it. I'm gonna do that.
Robin treated her like it was Brunswick Lanes and bowling balled her ass all the way out of the fucking hall. And I'm like, this is just such bad portrayal.
But I will say this here real quick, just like for anyone who has ever heard me say this, like I'm not as high on the Yonko as most people are, and that's like way before we've really met them. I've never been as high on them. I always felt that when we're going to get to them, we were going to really peel back the veil and see the truth about all the Yonko. I understand the story has hyped them to the high heavens and everything, but I don't know why. I'm an idiot. I used to call it One Piece broken telephone because I'm a moron, but someone else put it in a much better. I think it's Keating the Dragon said it in my comment section. Perception versus reality, right? We think of so many instances in One Piece where the fucking rabble and common folk are talking about something, and when you see it, you're like, what the hell were these idiots talking about? Because they don't know nothing, right? You go to East Blue, and they'll be like, what? The fruits are real? Huh? I thought there was a myth. And you like go to the Grand Line, and you're like, this shit is just fucking normal, right? And you hear things like, oh, like the Grand Line is a paradise. No, it's the pirate graveyard. And you learn, no, the first half in comparison to the new world is like a paradise. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many instances like that. Luffy's it's a 10 meter giant. Oh, Luffy's like 5'9". Like I'm taller than Luffy. I'm 6 feet, right? So like there's so many instances like that. So for the Yonko, I never believed there were these unbeatable 4 titans that can't be stopped. I never believed that. But with Big Mom, sometimes I just feel like this is a little silly. Like I can't take it seriously sometimes. So that's why I put my 2 cents there.
Like with what you said, like that makes sense, and we have seen that with One Piece a lot of times. The perception doesn't always match reality, but then like at a certain point, it's like, well, with this character, would it be more effective if the perception matched the reality of it? And I do feel that way somewhat with the Yonko. I don't think that's blind hype. I just think that, at least with Luffy's journey and everything like that, is it more exciting to follow a journey where, we're being told that, hey, to get to Pirate King, you're gonna have to climb this mountain, and it's gonna be really, really difficult. Like, no one's climbed this mountain. Is it more exciting to just get there and be like, oh, the mountain's actually not that tall? Or just see Luffy actually climb that mountain? You know what I mean? Like, it's just more effective for it to actually be that difficult and then see Luffy to overcome that than find out that it was just a lot of hot air and not that big of a deal. I don't think that Oda's really done that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Oda's really done that with the Yonko. I think he just sometimes doesn't realize that, like, shafting Big Mom one too many times, Like maybe once in a while it's kind of funny, as long as you balance it out with situations where she's really,
fearsome,
actually beating ass. Yeah, and I think in Whole Cake Island, earlier on in Whole Cake Island, he was really good at doing that. Like she seemed unstoppable back when, and when
she was a tank.
Yeah, there was a point where it was like Luffy can't do anything to her, Jinbei can't do, like nobody can do anything.
They were running for her for 3 straight chapters.
When they were running away from the island, then she seemed unstoppable. Like Nami dropped a huge lightning thing on, like she just seemed unstoppable. And then ever since then, it's been like small things that keep adding up to kind of just take away from. If you're talking about Big Mom, it's like, do you want to talk about her character or her like how menacing she is? Even if we put character stuff aside, I think right now it's most effective if she feels really menacing, and it's like Oda's kind of pushing her back towards that. Like she had a good showing against Marco, I guess, but like it's really got to feel like, for this to feel really like an epic scene, it should feel like there's Kaido and then like 1A 1B, not like Kaido and then like Big Meme, like that banner drop.
That's fair. I hear you on that. I think that's
my opinion.
I got you. But I guess the only thing I'm gonna say is just that like I only kind of feel like it's somewhat like hard, like, bro, come on, with Big Mom. Like we'll get to Kaido when we get to it, but I've actually only been more and more impressed with Kaido. We'll talk about that when we get there, but I have no problem with him. Like he's my second favorite Yonko after Teach. So
I think Kaido is still really intimidating, even if
I remember when the Odin thing happened, people were really down on him for whatever reason. I mean, I've heard all the arguments. I think they're bad, personally speaking, but because like they're like, oh, like I think well, I'll tell you what I've seen. Like I'll just speak from personal experience or anecdotally. People were like, oh, like Odin turned around and he clubbed him like he's pussy, and I'm like, he's a pirate, like. He had an opening, and this guy could hurt him. Like, I don't understand why he wouldn't take that. And like, I'm the kind of person, personally speaking, if Luffy was like, Kaido, I want to fight you 1-on-1, and Kaido agreed, and then Luffy pulled up on him, and he had literally his whole crew there, I would love that shit.
No,
I would love that shit. I don't care about your pirates. I'm not here for honor. I'm not here for that. I would love that shit. So the takeaway that I took from that chapter was, wow, Orochi's henchmen are kind of competent to like think quickly to make him think his son is there to distract him for a split moment so he could get clubbed. I find that a lot of times with this community, when things happen, I'm confused by their big picture takeaway. Biggest example I can think of is the revolutionary military captains. Peachbeard is weak. They're in the Grand Line. They're trash. And I'm like, did you not notice that all of their abilities and skill sets is actually perfectly tailor suited for revolutionary work? Mellow Betty to overthrow your oppressor. Technology, I can't remember. Lindbergh, that's the name.
Lindenberg. Lindenberg.
Morel, you can hide and whatnot. And then with Crow, you can cross you like information distribution and like travel and whatnot. Like, oh, I'm like, okay, I get it. That's dope.
Mm-hmm.
That takeaway was weird to me. So that's my 2 cents.
I like that revolutionary take, actually. That's actually a good spin on it. That's a good spin on it.
I honestly didn't think about it.
That's really good.
I didn't think about it like that. I wasn't disappointed with them, but that is a good way to, like, each of them does feel like more, covert ops, revolutionary type skill sets.
Mm-hmm.
That makes complete sense. Fair enough. Drizzt, Pandora's Box.
Oh, don't ask
Big Mom?
Big Meme.
Don't ask him.
I don't know. Big Mom's ass. I'm just gonna say she's awful.
Point blank. Period.
Now I think you've talked to me about Big Mom before, and I completely understand why you're saying it. Let me ask you. Let me put it this way. Let's do a rehash of the question. Do you believe that Big Mom has not been damaged by anyone but herself when she's in a crazed state? Do you think that holds weight in the fearsome factor where even though she's memed, nobody has done damage to her? Nobody's even fought her directly in the story yet.
Right. So that's true. Part of that's also because Big Mom doesn't do anything. But because she hasn't seen Kaido in numerous decades. She doesn't do anything. She sits in her castle and just sits there.
Right.
For one, but it could be different. Even if that wasn't the case, there's a difference between like, okay, she's like a goofball, but she still does work, right? There's kind of like a difference between her still being strong, and that feels kind of like a cookie at the end, compared to what the portrayal of her actual attitude is.
I agree with that, and that's actually been my point. And you know, someone in the chat actually said something that I found interesting, where they said that Big Mom is being nerfed by her ridiculous behavior, because if she wasn't nerfed by that ridiculous behavior, the series would be over.
And this happens quite a bit. If you actually, Big Mom is phenomenal at the beginning of Whole Cake Island. Morj is correct. Big Mom at the beginning of Whole Cake Island is everything the fandom wanted Big Mom to be. She is smart, cunning, competent. She knows what she's doing. She may underestimate people every now and then, but she has an idea of what she's doing, and she's still a little bit quirky.
I'd add she's got the right amount of crazy for the first 50 chapters.
She's great. Like, this is what you wanted out of Big Mom, the Yonko. And then it takes on a completely different meaning when the characters are memed for the sake of the protagonist or another group of people. Because then it doesn't really feel like it's the character, it feels like it's the story at large. So, for instance, Big Mom, Big Yonko is, 2v5ing right now. But whenever she was angry and wants to kill Luffy and his group of friends, she gets fat rolled off the side of the cliff like a Dark Souls character with Big Mom and Jinbei. And then she just she disappears, and she just gets constantly just goofed. And people have to temper their expectations by saying, well, she didn't actually get hurt, so it's okay. That doesn't make it okay.
Oh, it's terrible, I suppose, portrayal. It makes portrayal, because it makes you look bad. It makes, like, we understand how powerful this person is, and I think that's probably where some of the disappointment comes from when we see these little things happen to them, and it kind of eats at you. I'm just like, why do I still want to care about this character, knowing how strong that they actually are supposed to be, and then they just get shit on.
I think the problem with Big Mom is really that, like you said, like, there's so many instances, and especially the beginning of Whole Cake is dope, but like there is, like, if you have a ship, right, and there's one hole, small hole, it's not a big deal. But you put 100,000 small holes in it, the ship's not going to stay afloat. That's the problem with Big Mom. There's just so many instances now that's piled up and compiled, where it's like, it's just getting a little hard to take her seriously. But again, this is his final chance to show me something with her and whatnot. So I'm not gonna overreact yet, but this is the last chance. If not, she's getting roasted.
I do plug in here again. I do think that this would be like really good. Like, a lot of it is because we're reading like week to week and everything like that. So like the freshest examples of what Big Mom's done is what sticks with us. I think if Oda kind of really like set aside several chapters where Big Mom's going to look really, really good against 5 supernovas, it will shift perception back to what it was earlier. I mean, because you can talk about Big Mom's character, which I don't actually have too many problems with. It's more so the treatment. Yeah. Then, like, in terms of how menacing she is. Mm-hmm. Like, I still enjoy Big Mom as a character, to be honest. But in terms of how menacing she is, that's been kind of weak for a long time, like we've been talking about. But I do think that Oda has a chance here. Like, it's a 2v5. Hopefully more characters start showing up. If it really feels like it takes, I don't know, like a tremendous amount of effort for like characters to stack up to match up against Big Mom the same way it is against Kaido, I do think that, like, as long as Oda has her put in work here, it can shift perception or feeling back around.
Yeah, and Oda has to be careful here, because in a perfect world, Big Mom should just be beastin' in the situation, and it's just fights. How could it go wrong?
Right.
But Oda has written prerogatives into the story where you have to expect something else, which goes back to the amnesia stuff. If Big Mom shows out for a couple chapters, and then she gets memed by amnesia, and it completely changes the fight or the circumstances of the environment, it will not matter how good she was for a period of several chapters. It will invalidate everything that she did and actually make it worse, because people will look at whenever she was good and then compare it to how she was at that point in time. So Oda needs to know that the amnesia stuff is not cool. It's much better to have it be a weird writing instance where it happens at the beginning of Act 2 just for Udon than to throw the fight. Hopefully he does not go down that road.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I 100% agree, Drizzt. Like, that needs to be a thing where Oda needs just to bite the bullet on that one and say, I fucked up. I fucked up. That need not even be a part of the story, because if that comes back again...
I didn't even like it with Sabo. Like that.
Yeah, that's actually a common opinion, Morj. Even hardcore fans of the series don't like the Sabo amnesia excuse.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna add this just for me personally. The same way that a lot of, I feel like maybe I don't know if it's just manga readers, maybe because I don't know, but like, you remember the time travel thing with Toki? I had no problem with it, but a lot of people, when time travel gets involved, they just vehemently disagree with, like, no time travel in my story because it gets messy. I'm like that with amnesia. I just think it's a lazy plot device. I don't like it. You can do it well. I'm not gonna say it's never been done well. There's times where I like it, but generally speaking, as soon as I see amnesia, I roll my fucking eyes.
Yeah. Usually it can't be done right, Naya. It's just usually done wrong, and that's why people get mad with it.
I think it can only be done well if there's something like really, really like if there's a character in a series that specifically had like Pudding has an ability that's based around memories. If Pudding used her abilities to take away someone's memories, that's like a character's specific,
makes sense.
That's what their devil fruit is. That's different. But like generally any other time, like you hit your head, you are underwater for like 3 minutes or whatever Big Mom went through. Like that stuff, like that's just it feels very weak,
Yeah,
I can see you smiling when you said that one, Morj.
I don't know. That was really bad. I don't know. That amnesia was bad.
This Big Mom conversation.
I've never met anyone that can justify it.
This Big Mom conversation.
You know what I have met?
Oh. No, go ahead.
I was saying I've never met anyone that could justify her initial amnesia, but I've met a mass amount of people that have justified her getting her memory back in Udon, and then passing out afterwards saying well, she said beforehand she was tired. I was like, okay.
Oh, please.
Nah, that was just bad. To me, that's the worst point of Wano. Everything involving Big Mom, from the amnesia, Udon, horrific. To me, horrific. That was terrible. Absolutely horrific for Big Mom's character. But
I will end this segment on a positive note, though, Jay.
What's up?
Recently, Big Mom. My favorite part of Big Mom recently was just the simple character interaction between her and Kaido, where she revealed that, time on rocks. You're like a little brother to me. I gave you that fruit.
I like that a lot.
That was great. That was good.
Because it shows that Big Mom actually has the seniority in the relationship, and I don't know if anyone really thought about that. But
killed a lot of ships right there. Like a lot of Kaido Big Mom shipping was going on at the point.
Oh yeah, destroyed it. But here's the thing: when we first saw Kaido and Big Mom talk via the Den Mushi, he was calling her an old hag the entire time, and now we know why.
Right.
So,
and if we were to get a flashback, it could be very good.
Yep, because Kaido was an apprentice on that crew, which means probably at that time, Big Mom was stronger than Kaido at the time on rocks.
For sure.
Yeah,
and it might be that Kaido actually closed the gap recently.
Yeah, because we'll talk about it when we get to the Kaido section. But I
absolutely.
think that there's a lot of potential for that.
But this Big Mom conversation has been actually very refreshing. I was happy to hear a lot of people's opinions on it, and just for me personally, for me, what I want from Big Mom is I don't want any more Ikoku sovereignties. I don't want that anymore. I want to see the Big Mom that we're all expecting to see, and I want her to knock some people out. I mean, they don't have to kill him, but someone's gonna have to attack her. I don't know who's gonna fight Big Mom in this case, and I feel like Kid is actually more suited to fighting Big Mom, considering the fact that Big Mom is more of a heavy fighter, and Kid being in his giant robot form. I feel like we don't know why Big Mom is impenetrable. We still don't know. We assume it's because of Haki, but in this moment in time, I feel like Kid fighting Big Mom makes more sense, because if Kid has enough force behind his blows to actually, at least push Big Mom back, and we see a crack in her armor, I think that would be a big enough feat for Kid where people realize, okay, you may not be able to destroy Kaido with the blunt force damage without, the Rio that Luffy has, but with Big Mom, it might be a different story. So my hope is that Kid fights Big Mom. That's my hope.
Thought that too. I feel like if Jinbei could push her back, I'm sure Kid can as well.
Because go ahead.
I'll just say this: if there was a time to kind of cut the bullshit now and just let her be Big Mom, this is the time.
Yes,
that's what I'm saying. Like I somewhat like, as much as I hated it, I understand why the hunger pangs were a thing, because they needed some way to be able to escape her, so they made her a goofy when she's hungry as hell. I understand it, right? So like I don't agree with the execution, but I can at least understand conceptually why it had to be done because there's nothing they could do against her at Whole Cake Island, especially, right? So she hungry, she chased him very slowly on Prometheus. Right? Okay, all right. but now it's time to cut the shit.
You know, it's funny though. It actually makes sense because if you've noticed, Big Mom's character is nobody checks Big Mom. Nobody in the story from an early age. They've always been subservient to Big Mom. Don't make her mad. Feed her whenever she has her hunger pangs. If she has her hunger pangs, it's over. We're finished. She destroys the entire village of Elbath. Like, she's never been checked once in her entire life. So it doesn't surprise me that whole the hunger pan thing has never been checked because who's going to fix it? How can you fix it? Why would she bother fixing it?
They'd never even seen her really be that thin since she got nice and plump, right? So that means they'd be feeding her quickly.
Exactly.
So
that's one of the things that I really liked about Big Mom. At least I felt like for the vast majority of Whole Cake Island, which was the concept that this is just an overgrown kid who nobody has ever been able to check. Like nothing can stop her when she wants. Like she can throw her tantrums. It's like a child's tantrum, but it's a child's tantrum that destroys like population of the city potentially or something, and nobody can stop it. That kind of goes away or feels effectiveness of that type of a concept goes away a little bit the more it starts feeling like, okay, she's not actually that scary when she's in this mode. You know what I mean? It's only when she's scary and unstoppable in that mode that it starts to feel really, conceptually interesting. It's when it's kind of just like, okay, this is just like a weird hazard that's running around, but you can kind of roll it away sometimes. You can kind of toss her away. You can, push her off the ship. It's when it feels less effective or intimidating that it kind of falls apart. But Oda can still get her back to there.
He can. Let's hope he just doesn't fumble the bag and do what Drizzt said would be possible, which would really hurt my spirit. I'd be devastated. But let's move on to the next topic. And this is something I've been interested in. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but Orochi's disappearance. Orochi has been gone ever since he got his head cut off. And the Oniwa Banshu, Fukurokujo, looked to the side, I think during one of the chapters, and he just ran away.
I like that.
Yeah, he just went away.
I like that.
So that hasn't been addressed at all. Everything involving Orochi's men has not been addressed at all. Not even a little. Which leads me to believe that Orochi, his role in Wano has not been gone. But what bothers me though is that nobody has said Orochi's name at all. Like nobody. Momo, Yamato, the Scabbards, Luffy, Zoro, nobody. He's just gone.
Can I just ask one question before we get into it?
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
What's the question?
I think it's better for the story if he's just dead.
Really? Well, okay. So
it depends.
Okay, I guess that wasn't actually a question. Sorry, but like, sorry, I just said something. I didn't ask anything. My bad. I really won't be surprised. It's like, oh, you see, because of the 8 heads of Yamato Orochi, like, oh, he's alive somehow. Like, I wouldn't be shocked. But the reason for me is because sometimes I feel like with a lot of contemporary writing, they always feel the need to have these extreme wrap-ups with all these things. But sometimes, sometimes people just die and they die tragically, and there's nothing more to it. You thought, aha, I'm the one, I'm King of Wano, and kind of like, no, you're not. That's it, and that's it. Like to the point where like you probably heard me say this before. I'm tired of sympathetic villains when they're going out, and it's like, don't you understand? My dad dropped me when I was 2, and he abandoned me before. This is why, like, I don't need that. Like, just be evil and twirl your mustache. I'm okay with that sometimes. So I don't need any more Orochi unless there's like a real reason, valid thing for him to do with the rest of the because I really don't think I can't think of why would we need him to be alive. It's kind of like what I'm trying to figure out. Like, I think it was fine. Like, he thought he was partners with Kaido, running shit. He served his purpose, and like a pirate would, he disposed of him, and now he's moving on. I think that's fine, personally speaking. Plus, we got to see more of him and how he rose to power through the flashback. Like, I'm satisfied, but I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I definitely agree with you, unless like Orochi comes back strong. That's the only thing I'm still weird. I think I'm the only person holding out for this. Maybe not, but like I still think that Orochi, the way his devil fruit was introduced by the whatever the old hag was or whatever, she implied that this was a powerful fruit, if I remember. I think that it's still very possible that Orochi, there is more to him as a factor, as a villain. So, I mean, I don't think he's dead. I definitely, like, you guys know I'm still holding out on a lot of stuff. Like, the Big Mom Pirates haven't returned yet. Conjuro's still down. I don't think Conjuro's actually down.
True.
I don't think I think we've only scratched the surface of what Orochi could do if he gets back up, because he has a mythical zone fruit. So few people are given mythical zone fruits. Like, Oda could have just given him a snake fruit if he wanted to say, you know, Orochi's a snake. Look at how it's symbolized by his fruit. Like, why'd he give him a mythical zone? I'm holding out for a lot of these things that are still kind of up in the air. I do think that there's a good possibility for kind of a shift in who's running the show, basically, in the Onigashima battle.
Okay. My thing is with Orochi, I don't think he's gotten his just desserts from the Scabbards. Which I think, because Orochi was such a snake to Odin, who helped raise him up to get to the point where he was, I think the Scabbards are the ones that need to be the ones that need to take care of him, and that's why I don't think he's dead. I don't think he's a prominent, strong person. I just think Kinemon and gang just need to whoop on his ass for a little bit, at least.
What about his, that's not a bad point, but what about the people who worked for Orochi? You don't think that would be enough? Like, okay, like all the people who worked with him or for him, they like, all right, you kind of lock them up or whatever the fuck?
No, I mean, I think Fukurokoju and his gang and Mimo Aragumi, like, I think that when Kaido said you work for me now, I don't think that was genuine when they agreed to do so. I think that they might know something. They themselves might be like, "Yeah, but we're gonna go with it until he comes back." You know.
You know, I think for me, I see your sentiments in saying it's probably better off if he is dead for the story, and I do get that. The only reason I would push back is because I believe he has a role to play, and this is headcanon. It's clearly headcanon, but. There is credence because we know Drake is a part of Sword. We know Kobe knows about what's going on in Wano. We know that they know that it's probably going to get reported back. We know we know Orochi met with CP0. We know there is an interest in Wano, the fact that they can produce Kairoseki or, you know, Sea Stone. They don't really have any jurisdiction in Wano anyway. So the true ruler of Wano is Orochi still. So if Orochi, he goes away, say Fukurokujo takes him away, and he goes back to the Flower Capital or something like that. Well, I doubt it now because they're in the air. But they find a way to contact the CP0. And then that, in turn, is what brings the Marines to Wano. That could be a way, because Orochi is slimy. He could be like, all right, well, if Kaido's going to try and take the Flower Capital away from me, I'm going to get the Marines and I'll let them deal with them. And then all of a sudden you see Kizaru pull up. And then all of a sudden now we have a big ordeal. Now we have three forces fighting against each other. And that could be Orochi's role, where it stays within his character, where he's a slimy scumbag and he'll do whatever he can to stay in power. Then you find out Orochi pulls up with the Marines. Is like, yeah, go get him. And he tells the world government that I will align with the world government if you take care of Kaido for me. And that gives the Marines the incentive that if we get Wano, we get the supply of Sea Stone Prism. All of a sudden, it's a win-win for everybody. And we get rid of Kaido as a result. The only wrench in that is that all of their forces are dealing with the Shichibukai currently. So that's the only wrench. But I think that's a way Orochi can actually still play a role in the story.
Yeah, you kind of went where I thought you were. I thought you went kind of where I thought you were to go. My only thing, because I kind of look at it differently. Like my headcanon is that like Big Mom, like Kaido goes down first because Big Mom is gonna do something mad treacherous to him, and I think it was foreshadowed with the treacherous nature of pirates thing that he was talking about, because he kind of just snaked Orochi. I thought that was like the catalyst of that coming to bite him in the ass, because he completely betrayed the person he was working with. So I thought that was going to come full circle to him. So that's what that was my line of thinking. I don't hate what you said though. Even if he says it with like his dying breath type beat, I don't hate that at all. So that's not a bad theory. I don't hate it.
I agree with what you said, Jay. Although I would probably add in a couple different reasonings.
Okay, what's up?
So all you said is correct in terms of like moving the plot, but if you wanted to add character in there. Even though I'm not a fan of this character, if this was not done, then I would consider it just, I don't know what the hell Oda would be doing, is that, so you give Momonosuke the mythological sword that slays the mythological Yamato no Orochi, right? and then you have the Arc Princess state that she wished she could beat Orochi, and then Orochi is just dead. What? That makes no sense. For anything to be solved with Hiyori, who, although the reasoning is a bit weird now because of blah 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 blah, but when she worked under Orochi for years as a courtesan, to just have that lead nowhere for the character with no resolution, would be very, very weird.
That's a good point.
That would be like, even though I'm not a fan of how it's done, that would be like in Dressrosa, Rebecca wants to like defeat Diamante, and then Diamante like falls off a cliff and dies.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. Honestly, it's crazy that I completely forgot about Hiyori's existence. Completely forgot about it. Like,
I forgot. I like totally forgot that you said, like the.
To be honest, I actually forgot about Ami no Habakiri until this moment.
That's true.
I actually forgot the other sword. I forgot the other sword existed completely.
No, that I didn't forget. But her, I didn't forget about her, but I forgot she did say that. So I guess there's credence to that. I just hope he's dead.
No matter what, I want him dead. It is what it is.
I just want him dead. Like, because you've seen Nisei, right? Monogatari, right? Jay.
Yeah.
If you cover your ears for like 5 seconds if we're gonna watch Monogatari, but like the final confrontation with Kaiki is what really made me start thinking about, wow, there was all this build up. He cursed his sisters, this and that and the other. The backstory with Hitagi, and he pulled up for the final confrontation, and he's like, "You think life is like a shonen? Like, bro, I'm gonna just leave." And he was like,
"He just dipped. He never came back."
But I was like, you know what? I respect it. Like, that's what I started thinking about. Sometimes I don't need all these things to be like the Joker too. Like, the Joker is one of those characters I don't want a backstory for him. I want him to come out of nowhere and just be a house merchant. That's all I fucking need. I need nothing else. Nothing more.
Yeah.
I don't need, I fell into this fucking chemicals. Like, no, thank you. I'm not interested in that. That's just me, though.
I like that. I mean, I appreciate that now, because I feel like you're basically saying that sometimes there doesn't have to be some overarching reason for why they still need to be in the story. Sometimes he could just be dead. And I feel like everybody could be okay with it. Like, it would be different. It would be a different turn. And, Oda tries to tie, like, 30,000 knots and then loosen everything up together afterwards. But, I mean, I see it. I just feel like there's too much. There's too much.
Kaido change actually means something.
You said what?
It would actually make Kaido doing so actually mean something. So I guess that would be cool. But
do you think that would cheapen Kaido cutting off Orochi's head if he was still alive?
Cheapen? I mean, the only thing that would be weird about it is that, which is reasonable, is like, okay, well, did Kaido not know about his ability? I guess not. Okay, there we go.
If he didn't know, then fine. I mean, from what it looks like, Kaido was completely like, or in takeover mode. Like, no more just, oh, I'm just gonna work with you in tandem, we have common interests. Like, no, it's my shit now. And then, like, that actually made sense to me that Kaido would do that.
The only thing that's weird about it is that, like,
I was surprised Kaido worked with him in the first place, to be honest.
The only weird thing about Kaido not knowing his abilities is like Kaido's like worked with him for 20 years, and Orochi doesn't seem to be afraid of showing the fact that he's an Orochi. So, whatever.
What the ability can actually do, like,
maybe he just saw the form. He's like, I don't know what it can do.
I don't think Kaido would care.
I was about to say, Kaido seems like, oh, you're weak. I know you're weak. I don't care. Yeah. And then you just move on. It's in his character. It's within the character.
Yeah, it's in his character.
Speaking of characters, Kaido, the antagonist and the character. Ladies and gentlemen, or gentlemen, since there's only gentlemen here.
Don't assume my gender.
Oh, excuse me. I apologize. Are we impressed with Kaido the character? And then, the second question, are we impressed with Kaido the antagonist?
I think it's still like a little early to say, but I've been liking it so far. I think his flashback, which is definitely upcoming, is going to tell us a lot. I definitely like a lot of the little insights we've been getting into how he thinks, because the sense I'm getting so far, I mean, he's got the title of the world's strongest and everything like that, but he's still looking up in a certain way. There's still certain fears that he wants to match. There's still certain goals that he wants to hit. On top of that, I think
there are people There are people he admires.
Yeah, there's people he admires, respects. There's this desire for like a grand death, this desire for a big war. There's a lot of things that he wants to hit. So he seems like a guy that we're introduced to that's, he's the baddest of the bad, but he's still looking up, which is kind of interesting. Also, I like the idea that we all know that he's got that the fish fruit, right? And I think everybody's on board with the idea that it's the fish that climbed up the waterfall.
Yep.
Right.
Well, I think that's great.
Yeah, the carp. Yeah.
I think that's great. And this was something we were talking about earlier on in this, like, whatever stream, podcast, that Kaido was an apprentice on Rox's crew, right? He was most likely one of the weaker members. He was referred to as, like, I don't think as noteworthy of a member of Rox's crew.
Yeah.
And, like, a lot of Kaido's...
They call him an apprentice, I think.
Yeah, the way he's introduced is he's lost a lot of times. He's been captured many times. He's been defeated many times. I think it would be really, really interesting if Kaido's story is, fitting with his fruit. Like, he's a fish that had to... He probably didn't start off that strong, and he had to, over time, overcome a lot of fights, have a lot of difficult experiences and everything like that, and then get to where he's at now. I think that would be really interesting. I think that's a great contrast to Big Mom, who's introduced as this natural-born destroyer. Like, that's her thing, that she's just a born force of nature. She had, like, 500 million berry at, like, 10 years old or something like that. I think it'd be great if Kaido just started off as, like, a lowly apprentice, and he had to work his way up to becoming this beast that he is today. I think that'd be great for, like, what Luffy has to go through this arc and how much he has to struggle to overcome this guy.
I can agree with that.
A lot of hope for this character. I think we've just scratched the surface of it with what he's about.
That would actually...
I don't remember who said it.
Go ahead.
Early. I don't know who said that it was early. I was like, we know somewhat of Kaido's character, but I feel like Kaido the antagonist has just come about in the last few chapters.
Yeah.
One, I would really like the idea that Kaido did have to grind his way up and lose as many times as he had, and the one thing that kept him alive was the devil fruit that Big Mom gave him, because maybe the mythical feature to that fruit is not only does it turn him into his dragon, but the scales itself has a feature which is near impenetrable. Well, obviously we know it's not now, but it's like it's a massive feature to the devil fruit. So the fact that they couldn't kill him and they couldn't figure out a way to kill him gave him the opportunity to get stronger each time. And he probably, he's trying to find a way to get to the level where, he goes back to the chaos of God Valley. And that's why Big Mom would see him as a little brother, because it's like, hey, Kaido, you're weak. I know you're weaker than me, but you know what? We're going to get out of here. I'm going to give you this fruit. And then she just leaves. And that's the favor, right? And for me, the antagonist... We saw the antagonist, one, with the first introduction to Kaido, with Hawkins, Apu, Killer, and Kid. And we know that he's a chaos merchant. But as an antagonist, he developed, because after he beat Luffy, we saw that he actually thought about his actions, with suppressing the news in Wano, right? So we saw a slightly more intelligent side of Kaido. And then as you go along, when we go to the dinner party in Wano, where he's talking to his crewmates, you see a noble side of Kaido where he has clear reverence for people like King. You see the reverence that he has for people like Jack, where he said you wouldn't be able to beat them because they're really strong. And he has respect for Nekomamushi and Inuarashi and their Sulong form. So Kaido, the character, still needs to be fleshed out with the backstory, but we're seeing good parts of him. But as an antagonist, you see him as like some kind of like noble chaos merchant. It's kind of weird. It's like an oxymoron in a way. But like, I feel like as an antagonist, the fact that his character is constantly evolving really makes me believe that he has the potential. I know this is wild to say. I think he has the potential to be the best antagonist in One Piece, depending on the flashback.
I would agree. And that's good you pointed out, like, antagonist versus character. Because, like, people argue. Like, I talked with Drizzt, and I think we're both on the same page. Like, I think we both agree that, like, we think Crocodile is the best antagonist, even if Doflamingo is maybe a better character, for example. That's like a good...
Let's go!
Spitting!
That man had
yes, sir!
And our last date, we talked about that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the best character in One Piece. I keep going.
Nani? I was getting freaky.
That's right.
Aggressive. But, my next question is, we're staying on Kaido as well. I don't know, Drizzt, I don't know if you, did you want to say anything about Kaido as an antagonist and a character as well?
Kaido as like an archetype of villain is one that's very, very likable. The obstacle villain, or at least like the archetype of that, is something that people usually don't get tired of. If you execute them correctly. So far, I think it's been varied on the character front, which comes as a consequence of the Odin flashback, where the character writing was not consistent nor made sense with Kaido. To be reflected in the present day, at least. It could have made sense back then, and maybe there's some missing pieces here and there. But he's still enjoyable to see. Like, when you see him having fun fighting, you like to see that as a fan.
Right.
Hopefully, the Rocks flashback that we get heightens him, but I'm a bit concerned, I would say, because we see these hints at depth with Kaido.
Yep.
We see things that have a lot of potential, such as what was supposed to be there with Odin. The fact that he has a daughter.
When he killed the old hag, right?
Yeah, when he killed the old hag, the fact that he has a daughter now, things like that, and it depends on how far Oda is willing to go, and this kind of goes back to one of the main differences between Crocodile and Dofi in how effective I think they are in their arcs. One of the weaknesses when it comes to Dofi is that even though he's a better character, he is not utilized better. Dofi has more depth than Crocodile and in abundance as well.
Yep.
But the arc does not make good use of his depth. It suggests that it's there, but doesn't really do anything with it.
Would you say that because of his seething, not just seething rage, but rage towards the Celestial Dragons and his like general rage towards the world, and the fact that he does actually care about the people that kind of raised him? Like things like that.
And there's also subtle psychological things when it comes to Law. Dofi was trying to raise Law to be him. He saved the heart spot because he wanted that to be for Law. He wanted Law to be his right-hand man. And when Law chose Corazone's mantle, that upsets Dofi. You see these little panel reactions where Dofi's kind of just like, I'm being betrayed again by my family.
That's a good point.
Because my only pushback, like, I don't disagree with your take at all. My only pushback is that I would argue that Doflamingo's like character was explored more, but that doesn't necessarily make him a deeper character than Crocodile.
Right,
I know I'm standing. I know I'm fanboying, but
yeah, well, it's just a matter of how much was actually
Crocodile's second. Yeah, like Crocodile's second introduction to the story. I think we definitely
got more.
Basically, yeah,
but I would argue even
really good because that kind of rounded out Crocodile's character, even though we didn't need it. That makes us more excited to see him back in the story because he's just a different character now.
I only say that for two reasons. Like, I felt like Crocodile was talking about himself when he's fighting Luffy. Like, you have no idea what you're talking about, you snot-nosed rookie, because he failed in the New World and ran back to Paradise. And he's a self-admitted failure, calling himself a silver medalist and Impel Down and things of that nature. So I think he's actually got a pretty multifaceted character. You have to look for it though; it's not as obvious. Because
I definitely agree.
Yeah, okay. That's really the only point I wanted to make. Because like one thing I always said that I appreciate about Boa Hancock is we obviously didn't see what happened to her when she was a slave. But just based off that one moment, the fear in their eyes, the way their sisters reacted, how they act towards not showing their slave mark, locking off the whole palace, I didn't need any more. I get it. I understand. Like you could do a lot with a little. But so that's all.
No, I agree. Like I think with Crocodile, like I'd say, like if you're looking in the context of the Alabasta arc, like the quotes you said, you know what Crocodile said to Luffy and everything like that, I would have dropped those. I think at that time that didn't necessarily, like, not everybody assumed right away that, okay, that's Crocodile projecting, or that's Crocodile revealing a little bit of himself right there. It just felt like, you know, shit talk. And then little bits that we got over time helped round that out and help us understand retroactively what was going on. I think Oda
the color trap when he was when he was like the Pirate King outfit in the thing. And just a quick side note, this kind of thing is funny. In a lot of stories that I read, how come people who aspire to become like heroes always become assassins? Like that's what I want to be a superhero. It's happened in so many stories I read. That was a funny side note. I'm like, of course, when to be a hero and you became a fucking assassin. What this shit always happen? But yeah. Well, Kaido,
the better cover stories as well.
Yeah,
actually,
Kaido, I mean, the Talon cover story was the worst cover story I think of all time. So like,
by a distance.
By a distance.
Agree on that.
Yeah,
there was like 38.
It's not even close.
It was so hard to get through because it was just like, what is this leading to? This is like the most boring cover story of all time. So it had that going. It was like, what's it leading to? What's it leading to? It's leading to something really big, and it led from like the most boring cover storyline from all time, the worst like character reintroduction of all time, and that's just the climax.
What's annoying about it is that it's also, if I'm not mistaken, the longest one we've ever had.
Was it the
longest?
It
was like 38.
Yeah.
It was very, very long.
You know, I've risked.
But
At
go ahead.
least, so that's. I mean, if you take breaks into account, it was basically a year.
It was just about a year. Yeah.
I'll just say these two things. The two things, but like these things about Kaido, which is that like I don't know, I find them interesting. Because there's so many moments like you said, you brought up earlier, like the newspaper thing. That was a moment where I felt like there was more to him that meets the eye. I'm like, okay, hold on. He had enough sense to be like, let me not anger the people of Wano in my current relationship with Orochi. Don't use pirate, things of that nature. And he like kind of flew off, right? So when it comes to, I think Kaido probably has a very interesting story. That's why I'm kind of interested in this flashback. Like the only person I probably think has the most interesting life, like based, it's in my opinion, from my perspective, is Garp. I think I need an in-depth Garp, like from a kid to old man, because I feel like his life has been so interesting. Kaido, I think, is up there because of all the things we heard about in terms of him losing and being captured and stuff. But I always think about it like this, personally speaking. You could make the same argument. Let's say Luffy becomes Pirate King. You can see the narrator could say the same shit about him. He's been beaten, captured, dried up, thrown into the water, this, that, and the other, and he still became Pirate King. So it's like he went through all these trials and tribulations, like Morj said earlier, to get to the level that he got to. So I'm kind of thinking that's what it was with Kaido as well, where it's like, yeah, you can make all those claims. Okay, he's been beaten, he's been defeated, he's been captured. They tried to execute him, X, Y, and Z. But it's like, now he's the top dog. So like he's come a long way. Like you have to kind of look at it that way. Because I remember like when it came to like Kaido and Gecko Moria as well, when people are like, there's no way this guy was Kaido's rival. And I'm like, well, that's dependent on how you see it. Do you think they were literally like constantly fighting each other, or were they on the come up at the same time? So maybe Kaido's something crazy, then Gecko Moria something crazy. So it's like, oh, these two rookies or whatever you want to call them, they're on a come up together because they're rivals in that sense. Because you could say the same thing about Kid and Luffy. They're not fighting each other, but Luffy's doing his thing, Kid's doing his thing. So they're rivals within the worst generation. It's all about your point of view.
You could say the same thing about, like, people will say the same thing about Luffy and Gecko Moria at some point. Like, once Luffy becomes Pirate King, it's like, well, he once fought against this guy, Gecko Moria. At some point, you were at that point in the ladder and everything like that.
It's true.
Correcto.
I would be.
Last thing I'll add is, like, Luffy going up the waterfall at the start of this arc. That's like a pretty cool thing. Like, with the context of the fish story and everything like that being important.
Oh, the carp too, right? Oh, shit.
Yeah, Luffy's the carp symbolically in this arc, right? I mean, hopefully, as long as that's the direction. Look, this is partly why I don't love the whole team battle setup. That's just a personal opinion, but, like, we'll see what it comes down to. I do hope that, like, Luffy has to actually match Kaido for some section of this fight, 1v1, just because I just don't feel that much sense of accomplishment for the character if it's just going to be, a huge team up that's going to allow him to pull it off. Like, I wouldn't feel like he's a carp that turns into a dragon if that's the case, but we'll see how Oda does it.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was no, you're good. I was actually gonna say, God, I actually lost my train of thought. It's gone. No, go ahead, Virgo. Go ahead.
No, what I was gonna say was I was talking about the sense of accomplishment. I feel like the fact that we think that he's gaining leaps and bounds to even be able to be where he's at, I think there is some accomplishment, and these other gentlemen are joining him in that same accomplishment. I think he's already above them in terms of power, and I think he'll be the one to finally finish it off. But I think if they're involved in the beginning or mid portion of this fight, that's not a problem.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I'm hoping for kind of like a Luffy Law Doflamingo situation where, like, there should come, at least for me, some point in the fight where it's not just like, if it's just a finishing blow. Like, you remember Luffy got a finishing blow on Oars. I didn't really feel much from that, but like, if it's kind of a Luffy Law Doflamingo situation where it's a team effort for a while, get that health bar down somewhat to a reasonable degree, and then it's the Luffy show for the ending section. That would be what makes me happiest personally, but we'll wait and see.
There's a huge difference in that one, Morj, because that orb thing was literally just one attack.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Luffy
That would be
just
extremely anticlimactic. Those four fought the whole time, and Luffy comes out of nowhere with like a Ryokan gun and ends it. That would be terrible.
Yeah, that's true.
So we are very close. Well, 2 minutes away from the 2 hour mark. This went on long because a lot of good discussion. I'm happy with that. We're at the last. We're at the last segment of the podcast, and it's about the community discourse. And before we get into it, I just a quick a very quick discussion on Kaido's top 5 that people are affectionately calling it now.
No.
So Rox is there.
I'm okay with that.
Rox, Shanks,
I like that.
Whitebeard, Roger,
Odin.
Very interesting. Very interesting because he's saying that Luffy's potential is at that level. Now, Odin being there is a little wild because I never thought Odin would be as strong as a 4 on there. But I'm guessing I guess that's some kind of like confirmation that Odin reached that level. I'm not sure if I'm buying that, but I think it's more of just the case that Odin just scared the shit out of Kaido, and that's just it.
You have to remember also, real quick. Sorry, he did travel with Roger in the final voyage, so he had seen like he knows something great, so he's like on that level from that standpoint too.
Right, and they even mentioned that he got considerably stronger too. So that,
I mean,
yeah. Jay, like the only scar on Kaido's body is Odin, so like that's gonna have an effect on him.
Of course,
right? Like he's the only guy that's actually gonna give that guy that respect at least.
And I'm with it. It's just interesting to see Odin with those guys. These are all of them are legends. Everyone is a legend. Like not just in Wano, everywhere.
Odin's a legend.
I mean, like the way I view the top 5 is basically like this is in Kaido's lifetime experience. These are the 5 that impressed him most. So in Kaido's life, so like, what do we know? Like we know that basically like Roger and Whitebeard and Rox, those were the pirates that Kaido saw at God Valley. Like Roger and Rox probably impressed him the most at God Valley. Kaido, we know, had like this goal of taking out Whitebeard, so like he probably tried to go after Whitebeard a couple times. And then Shanks, we know that Kaido at least had some interaction with Shanks.
At
Marineford,
right? And then Odin was the battle that we saw. So like these are so most likely through Kaido's journey through life, these are the 5 that have impressed him personally the most.
Very important to him.
Yeah, it's Kaido's not saying that Kaido's fought everybody and these are the only 5. It's completely different.
Otherwise we're scarred.
Otherwise, then we have issues where it's like, well, where are the fucking Marines, dude? Like,
yeah, where's Garp? Like, where's Garp? That I get it. I truly get it. Now, the actual I think the most interesting person on that list is actually Shanks. Because beforehand, a lot of people didn't think that Kaido and Shanks fought when Shanks intercepted Kaido before getting into Marineford.
I thought we would take it here. I thought we might do this.
Yeah, no, I generally think that is a confirmation that there was a physical altercation.
Yes, it was. I actually used to be one of the people that believed that there was something else that went down because Shanks was uninjured. No one was injured. But it's definitely implied through the context of this chapter that to get on Kaido's list, you have to impress him. So Shanks definitely pulled out the time ability. You know, everyone says he has.
time.
That's right.
He pulled out the red hockey.
He pulled out the red hockey, the lightning, everything
from
the hockey. No, yeah, but that's also. I mean, it's great news. I don't see any reason to be mad over it.
I'm not mad.
I'm not saying anyone is, but it's good to see because that's also building up Shanks for whenever he does get folded.
I mean, I would agree that Shanks seems like Shanks seems like the odd man out just because, like, at least with the other 4, you can view it as like who did Kaido look up to during his come up because they're all his like seniors in a way, right? Mm-hmm. Like Roger, Whitebeard, Rox, all established pirates before him. Odin was stronger than him at the time they met. Shanks is the only contemporary. He's the only one currently around.
Yep.
So
that's what makes it so interesting. They're the most relative in age.
Do you think it's
Big Mom's not on that list?
I was about to ask. Do you think it's interesting that Big Mom is not on that list?
Well, Big Mom's there. That's why she's not on the list.
So I think people overthought this Big Mom is 2 centimeters to the left. I don't think there was a need for her to be in the panel. You
would have been
literally
funny if
have
Oda literally
information
included her
fighting
in the panel.
cats and dogs for years.
Well, I don't think he's including Big Mom in that category.
I don't believe that. I think because of the nature of their relationship and the fact that they've been fighting for years and then the third, I don't know. I didn't overthink it. You could be right. Maybe you believe that, but I think
I'm not saying that
because I think they
Mom
fought.
isn't comparable to Kaido, but I'm saying from Kaido's mindset, he's not looking up to her as this person is something special.
But you don't. But do you not think that's because of the nature of their actual relationship, though? That's what I'm saying.
Like Zoro
I haven't
wouldn't
seen any
acknowledge
reason
Sanji.
to say no.
Zoro wouldn't acknowledge Sanji in that like sort of situation.
I actually think he would.
There, something like that.
Would actually. I actually think. I think Zoro.
I think even in Zoro and Sanji's like, I think they don't have each other in their top fives. That's what I would say.
He would. I remember there was something going on with Sanji and Zoro. Like that cook would never die.
No, they definitely respect each other. They definitely respect each other and know. There's been quotes and stuff like that. They know how strong each other are. I don't think that they would actively like think about each other like
out of spite.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe just straight out of spite. They just wouldn't.
Plus, Big Mom's a woman. So.
There's that too.
Stop it.
What I say?
I'm not gonna. Nope, not doing it.
All right, so have we gotten everything that we want to talk about with the Kaido top 5 before we do a speed round?
It's a speed round.
The speed round is the discourse within the community. I think it's just gonna be 2 questions. Well, 3. Let's do 3. So Morj, I'm sure you're familiar with my fraudulent antics on Twitter. And
yeah, I see them all the time.
Yeah. Enma.
Oh no! How is this a speed round? How is this a speed round? You're bringing up questions that are gonna take 45 minutes.
No, speed round. You get
This
one
might
second
take a little
answer.
while.
You get like a minute. You get a minute to say your answer. We don't argue. We just accept it. All right.
Maybe judge you.
Is Enma? Do you consider Enma a power up?
Yeah, I mean, I view it in the same light as the raid suit. I don't like it, but I'm on board. I think Virgo says this all the time on Twitter. I think Enma's gonna break, or I hope that Enma's not like a permanent addition to Zoro's arc.
Yes!
But really hate it if that's the case.
Someone clip that, please. Somebody clip it. I need it. Look at Zoro doing the Billy Bounce on the fucking Virgo.
Let's go.
That's all I need. All right. Perfect. I need that.
You love to see it.
But you're in the camp.
To see it.
You're in the camp of Enma being a power up.
Love to see it.
I don't think it's as bad as. I don't think it's as. I mean, I don't like the raid suit either. But like, dude, it's like a sword that does this. What is it?
It's
like,
a
why is it
sword.
giving? I know, but like Zoro's whole thing. Look, this has always been my view of Zoro. I'm cool with him getting new tools, like new weapons, because I like the mentality of like, as your skill goes up, you're just getting tools that match your current skill set, right? Like if you're a guitarist, you're going to play with the best guitars as you become a better guitarist.
Right.
If you're a tennis player, baseball player, you're going to get a tool that matches wherever you're at the moment.
Yep.
If you just get a baseball bat that like, I don't know, injects you with steroids or something like that, and like, I don't. It's hard to define exactly what Enma's doing. You get a baseball bat that lets you do things that you wouldn't naturally be able to do with any other baseball bat.
Barry Bonds, cool.
Their argument is that Enma is more like training weights, where it's just training Zoro to be able to control Enma, and that's it.
Well, find the quote that like that.
No, sir.
Because they're saying Enma uses Zoro's haki.
Well, more, you gotta understand that he's a
Can I interject real quick?
Oh, go ahead.
Denied.
So they're both power ups, right? And to me, it's evident that whatever side you're on, you're just kind of being a dickhead to push your agenda. It's equal to me. They're pretty much equal in this sense.
Fair enough.
Wait, can I just clarify one thing? I do think the raid suit is more of an external. Like I don't think Enma's as bad as the raid suit. I think the raid suit is worse because it's external, in my opinion. This Enma's technically drawing out what Zoro has or something like that. But keep going.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not upset at that, to be honest. I'm pretty neutral even on both of them, but I'm not upset at that. So when he got Sandai Kitetsu, right? Also, right? He kind of called it a problem child when he was fighting the 100 bounty hunters on Whiskey Peak.
Right.
Which means to some degree he had to temper the sword. So this is not even technically a new thing Zoro's had to do.
Right.
So with Enma's a new blade, and it's the one that cut Kaido. Yes, we get that. But he still has to somewhat master the ability, because if the wrong person tries to use that, they'll just get all their hockey sucked up and get blown the fuck back. Right? So for whatever reason, this blade has an ability, but the ability could be detrimental to you if you're not strong enough or have the mental fortitude to use it. So it's an external power-up, sure, but he still has to kind of temper it and train it so he could use it properly. Right. To the point where, like, even in the fight, he's like, I'm about to unleash more power. So maybe he's trying to see how much he can and do. Maybe we don't know what the drawbacks could be. With the raid suit, I actually remember I quote tweeted this because you were arguing with somebody and he acted like this shit was a common drop item that anyone could just find, pick up, and use immediately. And I'm like, bro, you do know this is biometrically locked to fucking DNA, right? Like you can't just put on a raid suit and use it.
Yeah. Exactly.
And as Sanji was using it, he was still having to get acclimated with it. Okay, so this is the accelerator, this is that. Okay, I got hit by page 1. Oh shit, this is pretty sturdy. He still had to master it to some degree. I could concede that, okay, if you want, the raid suit's a little bit more of a power-up and it's easier to use, sure, but it's still something that he's going to have to get used and accustomed to using. He didn't just put it on. It's like, I am the master of all raid suits. It didn't work like that. So, to me, I think the argument was fucking stupid because I'm like, they're both power-ups. You're a Sanji fan. You're a Zoro fan. None of you are being impartial.
You got it, King.
You're right. Like, you're right on everything you said. I guess it's just more so that, like, I would prefer if neither of these characters had gotten what they got. Like, I don't like it coming down to, well, who has more of a power up, you know? Like, why can't they just have continued the trend that they had? And you pointed out Kitetsu from early on. Yeah. I never got the sense that Kitetsu was allowing Zoro to do something that, like, another sword of a similar caliber wouldn't be able to let him do. And that's the difference I feel with Enma. I feel like this is a sword that's letting him do something that no other sword would let him do. And it's
that he couldn't do before.
Yeah, and it's more so that he's not getting better at swordsmanship, he's getting better at drawing out the power of the sword, which is different. I mean, maybe I'm being more overly technical there, but it just seems different.
So that being said, what annoyed me about the raid suit originally was because we didn't really understand how powerful Sanji really was before that came about. And I kind of feel the same way about Zoro. And with that being said, with that, we can't really gauge where they are. And to say that, oh, well, Emma's not a power-up, or in some cases, Corley says Emma's a nerf, whatever, that's just ridiculous to me because they're doing things that they were not doing beforehand. And that's just point-blank period. I don't understand how that's contested.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, that's a good point. Like, people are talking about, like, well, this is how strong Enma Zoro is. It's like, we don't even fucking know how strong, like, normal Zoro at this point.
Yeah, it's all assumptions.
I hear what you're saying, but I guess my only slight pushback is that, you know, if he wasn't who he was, this sword could possibly kill him. It could be dangerous. So that's kind of the caveat, I guess.
It's true. Like, only he can use it. It's like what?
Like if I picked it up, I'm dying. I'm gone. Shriveled up, you know? But like if Zoro picks it up, he's good.
Yeah, I like that aspect of it. I guess I'm just gonna like
I'm with you. I don't like either anyways. I'm with you on that. Like it's just whatever, but I just have to accept it at this point. It is what it is.
I like that he couldn't just pull up and cut Kaido right away. That made me happy. I didn't like that his solution was like I gotta use Enma a little better, but we'll see. See how it looks in the end.
But I guess Sasuke
said, I wanted to say what Sasuke said. He said Emma finna start talking like the going married. Go ahead now.
Do you know my name? Bonkai.
Bonkai.
I part of the reason why I kind of let the Enma thing go, because I'm not gonna lie to you, I never really voiced it. I'm like, this is me. I don't like this at all, right? I let it go later on upon a reread because I'm like, okay, I'm not sure what you guys think the Black Blade really is and what it does, but if it's more of a symbol of your prowess as a swordsman, and Zoro didn't earn that by having Shisui, which is why they took it from him, you're running around like you're a fraud. You didn't do this. You know what I'm saying? You're wearing a veteran outfit. You've never been to war type beat. Okay.
Yeah.
So I let it go because of that thought process, but I still don't really like it.
It's been a great speed round, guys. It's been fantastic. Morj was right the moment they are talking so much shit in the chat about it.
Was Enma the speed round? We could have made like Orochi the speed round.
We could have made Orochi the speed round. Actually, my bad. I'm sorry. I'm
just trying to
Morj called it. There's no way that could have been a speed round.
It was never it wasn't gonna be. Drizzt, you're in the camp of it's a power up, aren't you?
By the actual definition of a power up is yes, it's a power up. People who believe otherwise are insane.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Also, I also agree with Morj that Sanji's raid suit is worse, but for different reasons.
You talking about for
Is it because of you don't like Sanji? Is that
no, this is actually for this is for a good reason. This is in defense of Sanji.
Oh, in defense.
Okay.
This is in defense of Sanji because it completely goes against Sanji got done dirty by giving the raid suit. Like the point of Whole Cake Island is that Sanji's a fuking failure, and he proves that he's not a failure, and it's like, oh, Sanji's a fucking failure. Here's the suit, bitch. He's like, I didn't need this. Here's the suit. And he's like, well, I'm never gonna use this. Oh, well, what the hell? I'll use it. Oh, fuck it.
No, you know what? I actually do remember when Sanji got the raid suit. That was a big point of contention for a lot of the community.
People were really upset about it. Yeah.
And I actually expected it. I'm not this is not me being like, oh, I saw it coming. I just expected it because other people called it too. But I just kind of saw it as one of those like, yo, we don't owe you shit. Here's a power up. Bye. That's kind of how I took it. Not gonna lie to you. I had to rationalize it. I have to tell you, I had to rationalize it. But you're just kind of right. I kind of agree with that. Where it's like, yeah, like he proved that. Yo, I don't even need. You guys have all this exoskeleton and you get your gym technology. I'll fold all of you right the fuck now with kicks. What the fuck is up?
Oh god!
You're like, oh, you're still a failure, but yo, here, rock this though. All right, but part of me feels like not Sanji. Wow, Oda wanted that invisibility thing to come full circle. That's kind of my rationale.
I would have been more on. I think the more we learn about the like, if invisibility is like the main thing and then it's mad at durability, then I'm cool with it. As long as his main fighting style isn't like, like he's getting a huge stats boost across the board specifically because of the raid suit. If it's more just like helping out his arsenal like a little bit with some variety, I'm like okay-ish with it. But I still just don't like the fact that he couldn't just, do it the way he's been doing it for the last like 800 chapters or whatever.
Yep. Speed round 1 complete. What's that?
I am sorry for calling it a speed round. I'll just put it out there now. I apologize. One of the other questions is around Jinbei and the Fishman. Do you believe Oda's actually ever going to address what happened to the Fishman and what happened to Whole Cake?
No.
He has to.
He better. He better. What? If he ignores it, what's wrong with him? No.
Imagine.
Just like not an option.
It's not an option.
Because this is not an option not to do it.
I think a little anecdote by Jinbei, him saying that one little thing was him addressing it. I guarantee.
It would be like if Ace and Blackbeard, that fight happened, and then it just went nowhere. And then,
they both walked away completely unscathed.
Ace, what happened? I was at Bonnaroo.
Oh, I'm crying. Okay. And then
speed round over.
And wait, last question. Last question. Who do you think Sanji is gonna fight in this war?
Queen, easy.
Easy, he says.
So I don't know. Part of me for some reason I feel King, just because I feel like with the raid suit we can get a type of aerial battle, and that's all I really want. That's what I want, an aerial battle. I just need it. I said with Marco, I don't need him and King to have a full on fight, but I needed to flap them wings, put their little talons up, and to do a little something in the air. I needed something. That's all I needed. But with Sanji, the raid suit, and skywalking, and the technology, I was thinking King personally, but that's just me. That's what I want. That's not what I actually think. Probably Queen, but I want it to be King.
What I want is for him to fight who's who and join in Jinbei's battle so Jinbei can go to the rooftop.
Well, the only person who belongs in the rooftop is Hawkins, but he's coming. He's coming to the rooftop, baby. Rooftop magician. You heard it here first.
All right, well, that's definitely it.
We can use that cheating trap card.
Say it again?
So we can use that cheating trap card.
Yeah, you'll pull out the tarot card and say, hey, yo, with this, Luffy gets +6 defense and +4 speed.
I'm crying.
You start going crazy? Yes, sir.
All right, last question. Sabo dead or alive?
He's alive.
He's alive.
He's alive.
No one dies in One Piece. Come on.
All right. I don't know. The One Piece episode it pushed me towards Sabo being dead. I'm not gonna lie.
If Sabo's dead, that's hilarious.
Dying off screen would be kind of wild.
If
Sabo dies off screen, that would be wild.
If Sabo's dead, that may be one of the funniest things that's ever happened.
You know what would get me funny? Like, what if he went to like Jesus Burgers and he used to like a fire elbow drop? We're like, what? His fucking ability.
Oh, that's ridiculous. If he's alive, then why do we even bring him back?
No, he's fine. He's fine. He's not.
Maybe he's dead.
I don't think he's dead.
But here's my problem. Why on earth would they be crying? Why was Dan crying and saying Sabo?
They think he's dead.
They thought he's dead.
He's probably been reported as dead.
Yeah. I don't think he's actually.
It's like, oh, is he dead or alive? You'll have to find. He's alive.
Jay, you've literally seen Morgan go like, yo, put some cap in the news right now. Like, what are we doing?
That's true.
What if there was a fourth brother we find out was actually dead?
A fourth brother.
Actually dead, we found out there's another one.
Oh my god.
And a fourth Sabo.
His fourth brother. Oh my god.
Always by Ichigo.
Somebody else gets another mirror. Oh, Jesus.
Oh my god. The mirror man keeps getting passed down. Luffy gets a second devil fruit to fight Blackbeard, and it's the mirror. Yeah, that'd be great.
Just as a quick side note, just let it be known, the only reason Kaido didn't have to go teach up there is because he ain't meet him yet. That was the only reason.
Oh yeah, teach. I'm one of the people. I think Blackbeard would fold Kaido. I think he'd fold him.
I think he would fold. Might be the wrong terminology, but
you think Blackbeard as he is right now?
Yes, I think Blackbeard's top one. I generally believe he's. Yes.
I don't know. Not yet for me.
I think he's top one by the end of the story. I don't see it yet. I don't know.
It's controversial, I understand, but like I said, I rate Blackbeard as top one right now. And that's it.
Yeah, so that's why you got big off of the laugh. That's why you got the.
I mean, listen, that has nothing to do with it. That has absolutely nothing to do with it.
Teach is my guy.
That's my man.
But I think he needs more.
Hemmingz, you're a fraud. Don't say that.
I'm crying.
More devil fruits. More.
Nah.
We need more.
He's got all he needs. But yeah, that's it. That's it for episode 10. Big milestone. Took us a long time, Virgo, but we here. You know what I'm saying? I finally got around to doing it. My bad.
I mean, if you were a long time to episode 10, I blame you, obviously.
Oh, it's definitely on my fault, for sure. Yeah.
But you know, I'm well aware. But I'm finally glad that we buckled down and got it done. This was a great episode. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was fun, guys.
Yeah,
this was dope.
This was a really, really good conversation. And Drizzt even had fun. I heard some passion in Dritz's voice. I was excited about One Piece.
Yeah, you're able to milk something.
I did. If you notice, I asked questions to make sure Drizzt had some passion in it. So I'm gonna get him. I knew.
Drizzt cannot resist correcting.
I see Chico Love Clubs in the chat. Yes, sir. You love.
Morj, thank you for finally showing up, but also fuck you.
God damn.
That's deserved. Yeah.
That being said, Hemmingz, you've been my brother from another mother and some other lovers as well.
Remember when we tag teamed that one? You know what?
Whoa. All right, guys. TOS. Twitch. I don't know. Do not associate me with Nia whatsoever. That's them. He did what he had
Old
to
age
say.
Drake and Steve-O.
That's what
Whoa.
Yeah, but shout out to everyone in the chat. I think we got up to like 250 people in here, which is really, really dope for Twitch. So thank you guys for coming through. Appreciate that. Of course, thank you to Brother Morj, Brother Drizzt, and Brother Nia. Thank you guys for coming through. It's been a great episode. Virgo, you are up next. So episode 11 will be coming whenever Virgo deems it. So now it's on you. So
absolutely, it's on me.
You know,
I'll be a bit more punctual than my counterpart here.
Hopefully.
We will definitely get it done sometime next week. Actually, is what I'm planning for.
Oh, okay. So
we'll get there. We'll have some fun little guests there. I don't know who we're gonna bring. We'll see. But it'll be just as entertaining as It's always a fun time with the Henny Cool Brothers.
Of course.
That being said, I want to point out real quick before we stop. Clans Jr. says that I'm as attractive as a young Donovan. You can go fuck yourself.
Well deserved.
Other than that,
Christ.
I have one more thing.
Yeah, subscribe to Naya's channel, Naya D. Hemmingz. Subscribe to Mr. Morj, you already know him, but subscribe anyway if you have not already. Subscribe to Drizzt, even though he'll tell you he doesn't make content. No, I'm saying it. Even though he says he doesn't make content, subscribe out of spite if you have to. Just subscribe. And that's it.
That's funny.
That's it from us. Henny Cool Brothers out. Everybody, take care.